Hello, everybody. Happy Shatterdaze. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. Joined with Mr. Ziggy. Sorry, late start there. I just got a text from. No, there's another one. Uh, but I just found out that Trevor Moore has passed away in an accident, it sounds like. He was the head of the sketch comedy Whitest Kids You Know. He did some movies, TV shows, sketches. I really liked his last two albums he did. Uh, I think he might even have three. Yeah, three. Story of Our Time, uh, fuck, Drunk Text to Myself, and High in Church. I highly recommend you check those out. Um, I've been kind of preaching that Trevor Moore was awesome for a very long time now, and I felt that it was always a shame that he was just a little way from being like an A-list star of any means because he was such a good writer and funny guy. It's just a bummer to hear, and it just lets you know that if you have anything to do, do it. You never know how long you got, and I guess we're just lucky that someone with that talent and who was funny and we enjoyed that much was able to do as much as he could and record it. So hooked on phonics, so sad. Yeah, I was a huge fan. Like I said, I had been sharing his stuff for a very long time. It started out, I was just a big fan of the Whitest Kids You Know. And then he started doing his solo stuff, and I stuck with him through all of it because I really enjoyed it. I can't tell you how many times I've watched those music videos and listened to his CD. And he has a comedy set kind of on YouTube that I would definitely recommend you watch. Um, it's This Shouldn't Be Happening Right Now, if you've ever seen that, where they get comedians to tell fucked up stories. And his was really funny. I don't know. It's just weird how the world works. And just because you do good things and make people happy, it doesn't guarantee how long you're here, which is a bummer. Because it seems like the people who are they say only the good die young, and sometimes that's very true. Although Mel Brooks is still here, so that's good. That's good. Anyway, not to start out on a bummer, but I literally just found out about that, and that really bums me out. So, Trevor Moore, wherever you are, so sad. Cheers. It's just a lot of people passing away recently, and it just sucks. People I actually care about. So, you know, there's a lot of celebrities out there that, no offense, I could take or leave. You know what I mean? Just don't care. But it seems like I don't know, those dudes were fucking awesome. Frenchie Cannoli and Trevor Moore were pretty awesome. So anyway, we got the Zigs here. We are going to go through with another Shatterdaze because, god damn it, that's what we do. Uh, you know, yeah. Anyway, let's spin that wheel of dabs. Hopefully, everyone's doing okay. I am also living in an apocalyptic, smoky war zone area in Denver. Denver right now has the worst air pollution in the world, I believe, which is kind of crazy. Um, there hasn't been any clouds in the sky, but you haven't been able to see the sun through the fucking smog. It's fucked. Um, I just saw Greece is on fire, Turkey's on fire, California's on fire, Oregon's on fire. Shit's crazy. Billy Bong, hey, good to see you again. Went to a 420 festival in Michigan yesterday. They were selling food, weed, bongs. Wait, they were selling food. Okay, not food, weed, food, wing, all in one thing. Food, weed, bongs, and have a concert and camp out. That's kind of cool. What was it? 420 Festival in Michigan. That's cool. They did that so far away from 420. um, that's cool. I forgot if you're from Michigan or did you travel out that way? I've always managed to know somebody at all times who lives in Michigan or is from Michigan. Um, I remember listening to Esham and ICP like in like the 90s, like 96, 97, before anyone really heard of them. Right before, it's got to be 96. I think it was right before The Great Malenko came out. Because after that thing came out, get your butt out of there. No one wants to see your butt. I'm from Michigan. Okay. So, Dearborn, that's the fake town in Michigan that Ash is from in The Evil Dead. I think it's Dearborn, which I'm pretty sure isn't a real place, but that's okay. What are you doing? What you doing? What are you doing? Are you just being cute? Are you just cuting all over the place? Small tubes. Yep. Oh yeah, it's time for a dab. Sorry, I got cats on me. Sorry, I got really shook up about that news. So yeah. Anyway, other than that, things have been maintaining a decent rate of okayness. I think the key is to just kind of pressure through it. Billy Bong, get your butt out of there. No one wants to see your butt. No one wants to see your butt. Nobody wants to see that. Billy Bong, I met some people from Denver that were there. This festival is in Vandalia. Wait, Vandalia. It's called Rainbow Farms. Ugh, I have no room on my lap, and both of them are just not trying to sit there. Oh, are you gonna try and shit even though you're gonna have to just sit on Ziggy? Ah, I swear, this is how I deal with everything throughout my day, is cats just piled on me. Bummy Banana, Coke Bump Cheers. I hope that's literally uh, a fuzzy soda, a bubbly soda bump. That's all I need to know. I was just talking about cocaine yesterday, where I'm like, it's just not my thing, but I don't have a problem with plants. So coca leaves that people chew in the Amazon and shit, that's not bothering me. I don't care, but hey, to each their own. Uh, Billy Bond, they even had a naked slide for the girls. So the slide was naked? No. Hey, there's anybody who has something wrong with that has never done it. No, just that's cool. Yeah, festivals and stuff are opening up. My cousin has been going to a lot of festivals, and yeah, she got COVID, even though she was vaccinated. She got super sick and not doing so well. And she's like, "Oh, I've been super careful, and I was taking care of all these things. All I did was go to like 2 festivals, a beach party, and like she's like all these things." And she's like, "But I was really careful." I'm like, "Okay, hey, uh, smoking pot might be just extra risque, but she's okay, so that's what matters." And I don't know, man. I'm in a very I have a couple concerts lined up that I'm going to that have been postponed and they're now happening. And I'm gonna go. I just I held off. You know, I don't know. I want everything to go back to normal. I think everybody does, but I don't know what you want and what you get. Billy Bong, damn, she still got after the shot crazy. So what does that shot actually do? Placebos? Well, from what I hear, so this is kind of the deal from my understanding. And this is why I still am super careful, even though I got it. You're 95, right, percent chance of not getting it, or less likely, but you still have a good 5% chance. So you shouldn't go licking doorknobs. or being a fucking knob. But anyway, so if you get it, I'm guessing that the fatality rate drops down from whatever it was, even if it was 1%, it drops it down to like 0.0001%. It's like a tenth of it or whatever. Um, I don't know, man. I think about it a lot just because I'm like, I don't, I smoke pot and shit and I don't want to get sick. But that's the thing. Uh, I don't trust the vaccine that much. I don't think it's so much that it's out to hurt me or it's going to make me sick or it's going to chip me or any of these things. I just don't think it's going to work as well as people think. And from what I've seen, give it a little time. It just, you can still get it. You can still, of course, it worked and it helped. I just didn't think of it as the miracle cure either. Although 95% is pretty good, but you can still get it. Yeah. And she like fucking, she's just turned 40, but she's in like really good shape. She's healthy as far as I know. She looks healthy. She's my cousin. I've never heard her complain about health problems that I know of. And yeah, she like was like posting on Facebook that she was like gasping for air and shit. I kind of thought the same thing. I'm like, damn, that was with the same fucking vaccine I got. But then again, if you're 1,000 times less likely to get it, but you go to a festival and meet 10,000 people, that's probably more, but I don't know. I just still I am just super, what is it? I don't believe in anything. You know what I mean? Like I have no trust in anyone or anything. So it's like, uh, I don't trust that worked. I don't trust it doesn't work. I just have very little trust. Oh, what is making that ring? Stop it. So, but, all right. But, you gotta do what you gotta do. All right, cat, you're killing me. Switch these two out. Take one more bong rip. Ziggy, these two cats, they're just right here and right here, and they are just there. All right. Billy Bong, I think I already had it. I had fever for like 10 days and it lingered for like 3 months. I also lived in a moldy house and that didn't help. No, and a lot of people do. And I have roof problems. I've been having like water leakage and shit. And I can't afford to get my roof done. So I'm always worried about that shit too, because that's really bad. Anyway, moldy house. Yeah, I couldn't even walk in the kitchen, just laid in bed. So that's very possible. I wonder if you can get it twice, which I heard, I think you can. But I don't know, man. I honestly, I don't also look the shit up that often. I assume the fucking worst. Like the day that this shit was announced, I'm like, okay, zombie apocalypse. I've seen shit like this. I've been preparing this by watching these movies my entire life. You know what I mean? And I'm like, don't get me wrong, it's probably nothing, but I'm gonna treat it like it's the goddamn fucking plague. And just because I don't like getting sick, dude. I don't like getting a common cold at all. So she's like, you have to look at my ass. Look at my butt. There you go. Neandercats. It's called a breakthrough infection. It's still much safer to be vaccinated. Yeah, so yeah. Yes, you can. You can even get two variants at once. Like I said, I assume the worst. I assumed right away, I'm like, this is a man-made virus and it's probably going to keep mutating and infecting and mutating and infecting because we probably perfected it to do so. And again, maybe that's not the case, but if you prepare for the worst, you can at least cut shit off of the past. That's why I like right when this shit first started, I took like 2 months, 3 months off of work that I couldn't really afford. And I just made it happen and I made it work because I'm like, I don't know what this shit is. I deal with the public every day, yada, yada. I worked right next to a hospital that was dealing with that shit when it was first happening. And there was a line out the block of people coughing and sick. I'm like, I'm not going here. It's not worth my fucking time because I didn't know what was going to happen. And after like 2, 3 months, I'm like, oh, they'll figure that shit out. Safety protocols will be in order. I'll be much safer. Nothing happened. That's why I'm like, okay, you got to take it upon yourself. If you want to be careful, be careful. If you want to be vaccinated, be vaccinated. If you don't. But just don't put other people at risk unnecessarily and just stay away from them. I think you kind of sign up for what you sign up for at any given time. I am done caring about other people. You know, I hope for other people, but I don't care what they do. Fuck them. Fuck everybody. And not in a bad way. You know, fuck me too. What I do is my business. What they do is their. Um, at the end of the day, it's faith that I'm lacking, not empathy. So, but that's where Kitty come in. Kitty doesn't care about none of this stuff. As long as my cat's safe, I'm happy. Look at this poof. Look at that poof. I was just talking about how Panda got her name today. When I got this little kitten, this was the most ferocious, meanest, little fucked up cat I've ever seen in my life. I rescued this little cat from under a shed with her brother, and her brother was sweet as pie, and I miss him every day. But she was this little tiny ball of fucking deadly floof, and she would attack anything that came near. And one time, I didn't have a name for her yet, and she was still mini paw sized. She was like the size of her head right now. Um, it was fucking crazy. I fucking picked her up, and she bit my thumb so fucking hard. I've never been bit this hard. I could feel her bone, or I could feel her tooth grinding the bone on this side. And she cracked the fucking shell of my fucking nail. Hey, 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 hey. Stop it. Stop it. And she fucking cracked my nail in half, shattered it, and it ended up breaking off and fucking growing out all fucked up. Hey, stop doing that. You're not allowed to play with those. Just trying to play with these little fucking cotton swabs. No, no, bad. Anyway, I was reading the Vampire Chronicles at the time, vampire books, obviously, and she fucking bit my thumb in half. And then when I looked at her, she just had my blood just running out of her mouth. One of the um, vampires in the book was called Pandora. And I was just working on names, and for some reason, it stuck. And she's my little panda bear. Anyway, Billy Bong. I think I'll just wash my hands and eat fruits and vegetables. That's my shot. Yeah. I tell everyone I care about, you should get it because I care about you. But if you don't get it, that's on you. I'm pretty big on freedoms. I'm pretty big on people making their own bed and lying in it. And sometimes you make it and it's good. Sometimes you make it and that's the last time you do. I mean, I don't know. Fuck if I know. Know that we put a lot of crap in our bodies. So, like I said, I grew up on soda and fucking moved to energy drinks and eating fucking deep fried garbage my whole life. So I wasn't worried about injecting myself with anything else. Well, I'm sure the cancer I gave myself throughout my entire life of doing horrible things will negate that fucking the bad shit anyway. I just, I think this only reasonable thing to say is I wish this just never happened. You know what I mean? I think I think if they can confirm that this was a lab-made human experiment, it'll just be another reason why it's like, man, technology and ethics are always in a race, and technology always wins, and it sucks. But it is what it is. I feel like time will show that it's just another hiccup in the evolutionary step towards becoming a spacefaring monkey existence that we're on our way for. We gotta get the fuck grow up before we can get out. So it's just another little test, another little bump. I feel like humans are so deep rooted into the ground that you'll never get rid of them, and I mean that literally. Like you can cut off the human society of literally the earth and the sun, and there'll be some douchebags and bunkers who will live it out. So at the end of the day, I'm not too worried about it. Humans will do their thing. You only have a finite amount of time anyway, so whatever. I say just try and enjoy it and try to help people out. That's my motto I've lived by. And even if my helping people out is just not fucking people over in order to make my own life better, that's a pretty big step I try to take every day. And then just spend time with the cat. Spend time with the people you love. Um, you know, your time and your, like what you're doing right now with me, the time you're giving me is the best investment that you can, because you only live the moment you're in right now at a time. You know, the rest is the future. The rest behind you is the past, and wherever you're putting right now into is what you're investing in. You know what I mean? You're investing the most important currency you have. You know, the most ethereal, important shit you have is your time and where you invest it. That's why when you think about negative thoughts, you're investing in negative things, and like you're spending what little time you have here somewhere else. So it's not worth it. Uh, and that time you give people, you know, you can judge what you're doing as right or wrong by their reaction. People want to be around you, chances are you're fucking doing it right. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. And if people are not too interested in being around you, then, you know, what are you spending your time doing? You know, are you investing it looking up shit that makes you angry at other people? Because that's what a lot of people do, is they invest their time looking at things that make them angry at other people. It's never self reflection. It's always pointed outward, and that's a very shitty thing to do. And it's never how can I help these people not be fucked up. It's why are these people fucked up, and how can I get rid of them? You know, uh, like I said, life is really short, and it sucks. But if you're a good person, that lives on. You know, so does the fucked up shit you do too. You know, um, so just try to leave a good legacy, and it's one of those things like the butterfly effect type idea more than actually leaving a legacy of, like, you know, a family and thoughts and things like that. It's like just doing one little thing ricochets and bounces around and gains snowballs into something else. And if you start that snowball running, even after you die, it keeps on building. So that's the big goal, you know? Just try and make life as easy for people around me as possible. And it's so fucking hard. It's a life goal, and I feel like the best thing you can do is get other people to join you. That's what I try to do. That's what this is like, help me, you know, make this place better for all of us. Let's get like-minded people together who aren't pissed off all the time and fucking, like, you know, start something that's just chill. It doesn't have to be revolving around fucking antagonism. Yeah. Anyway, Neandercats. I'd much rather see relaxed hippie Earth rather than space apes. Yeah, me too, but, you know, hopefully we get the fuck off this planet and leave everything else behind. That's right. Wouldn't that be the best thing we could do for the planet? Is just kind of retract our own presence now. Although I don't know if that's true. Sometimes I think we're needed here really bad now. We have to fix the shit that we put this into. I feel like, unfortunately, I feel like for a long time we did a lot of things on this planet with the idea that, hey, in the future we're gonna have technology to fix the shit. And that hasn't happened. We keep coming up with technology that makes our lives better for a temporary moment, but destroys the world for the future. But now we've passed that point where nature's probably not gonna fucking, it'll repair itself, but it'll take such a long time that fucking everything that we actually care about will be gone. Human intervention is kind of a necessity. Uh, we have to figure out how to make being at one with nature and pro earth not seem lame, seem profitable, to realize there's more to gain in saving the world than dollars will ever gain you today. You know, it's one of the problems with, you know, monetization of the soul. Billy Bong, man-made for sure. Probably someone testing it in a lab in Wuhan and accidentally got infected. Which, you know what? I think that's the case too. Now, whether, I'm not saying whether it was intentional or completely accidental, because it could be either or. But I think so too. And if it is man-made, that's a really bad sign for the future of where this disease will go, this virus will go, because they supercharge those things in laboratories to be able to experiment with them and see how they will evolve over tens of hundreds of years or something. They'll condense that down super tiny by supercharging them and putting them in really, you know, they put them in situations where they can multiply and advance and they can study that shit. So you have a really powerful strain of something and it gets loose. That's a very bad sign on the potential of what can be done. I personally don't know, but that was definitely something I thought of right from the beginning, and not in a racist way of these damn Chinese are trying to kill. I mean, I also don't dis. I don't think that the Chinese necessarily are to blame. I think it's humankind. That's the problem we have. Is like you step far enough back from this planet, and we are not different. We're all one species. We're all humans, and we will be judged accordingly. So that's also a shitty thing because that means no matter how good you are, unless you're able to take, a couple 100,000 people with you into that movement, uh, you're not actually making an improvement at all. You're just being, you know what I mean? Like it takes huge movements to make changes, and that's what we need right now. We're desperate for big change. Neandercats. I was also bet. Wait, we also bet big on an infinite sized planet, shit. Uh, so we went depleting and thinking that we can move on. With all the variants, it does seem like it does seem like it's evolving multiple deadly flu variants in 3 months, which is a big sign that it was made in a lab. Uh, I don't know, man. Fucking, it's not. I've been super pessimistic. I'm like, I don't know if shit will ever go back, and we'll try and make it go back, and it'll work, and it won't work. And people compare it to the Spanish flu, but I can guarantee that the Spanish flu was not created in a goddamn laboratory. So maybe it won't be the same. Maybe it'll be easier to fix because the information's there on how they did it. Billy Bong. The Republicans are trying to find evidence on Fauci to put him in jail. They think he's behind it. Who knows? But someone will go down hard if responsible. I don't know, man. That's some pretty far out shit right there to me. Just because he was Trump's dude at one point in time. You know what I mean? And that didn't go bad until he literally had to smack his own face hearing shit that he said. And that's I am very against every president, including the one I've never had a president we like and that I like. So, but that being said, some are face palmingly bad, and you gotta take your. So he instantly became an enemy of the goddamn state on the right because of that. So I'm sure he's the fucking devil. I personally don't know and don't care. I feel sorry for anybody who gets to that position and just every time they try to spit out any amount of advice, people try to like talk back to him. He's like, I'm sure he's probably a well-informed, intelligent man. But then again, when it came down to it, he wrote a book too because he saw where the money's landing. When you're that famous, fucking, and that just says something about people's integrity to me. When it's like, yeah, but I am gonna write a book and I'm gonna make a few $100 million out of this by the end of it, or whatever, tens of millions of dollars. And I'm like, yeah, capitalism still reigns supreme. You still got to make a buck. That's why the key, Terence McKenna said it, the key to saving the world is to find out how to make it profitable. Make people realize that there's more money in saving the world than destroying it. That's all it will take. Once you make more money that way, that's all it is. It's just a money transfer. Money's become very, very important in this country and the world. So that's how it goes. Billy Bong, I feel like I would take a dab, except for these goddamn cats. These goddamn cats. I don't know if you've noticed, I've been on for half an hour. I've literally had a cat on me the whole time. This guy's sleeping right here in a pile of weed on a chair that he never sleeps on except for right now. Billy Bond, right? Same with war. It's an economy. And you know what? I think that's one of the bigger. That's as big of a problem as to me as of the virus and everything else. It's like, yeah, the virus kills a lot of people every day. We push endless wars for money and fucking oil and all this bullshit. I mean, like, there's a lot of death every day at the hands that we do know the cure for it. It's called leave people the fuck alone. Although you can't do that now. Uh, you can't bully everybody for too long and then stop. You know, at some point, it's like, yeah, you might want to keep that tough facade up because if you don't, someone might fucking like be pissed off. There's a reason we have a military budget that's like 3 times the next person down. It's because we've pushed a lot of people around. And that's how come I'm in a house doing my own thing, enjoying my life. I also know that I reap the benefits of a lot of the things that I don't exactly support. It is what it is. Cat, why are you like a gigantic fluffy football? Hmm? I'm taking a dab whether you're here or not. Somehow, some way. All right. Now, yeah, Cat, what if I give you a treat? Would you want to get off of me if I gave you a treat? She's like, fuck no. That cat is stuck to me. You are stuck to me. Here's the kitty. All right. Billy Bond, good thing America isn't the Middle East. I'd be I'd be scared. And dude, I like I said, I've tried to let people know this quite a few times where I'm like, I still am very happy to be where I'm at and doing what I'm doing, and the alternatives aren't great. So it's not the best thing to do is have to turn to what about isms where it's like, well, what about Iran? What about Iraq? What about Afghanistan? I'm like, yeah, I definitely don't want to be in those places. So I have no argument against that. What are you doing? Are you just being so cute? Are you just being the cutest kitty ever? All right, let's see here. I can't do this with you up here, so let's get you some treats. All right, there we go. Oh, that guy. Don't set him on fire. So Ziggy is the one who he'll be down here on the other side of this table, and I can't see him. And I'm fucking sitting there with a torch going towards that way to keep it away from my face, which I recommend you do. Don't put not just the flame, but don't even have it point towards you because then that gas and shit's just going right in your face. So I try to have it kind of facing out. And that motherfucker jumped right into it, fucking burned off half his whiskers. I'm like, dude, I could have like burned your fucking face off. Ziggy and fire. That guy is fucked. I'll also have fucking shit on the stove, and I have a propane stove, so it's like literally flames. And he'll be there trying to eat food out of the fucking stove. Out of the skillet on the stove. I'm like, dude, that shit. Ah, cat, I swear. Ziggy is definitely prone to danger. See, he's looking up at like he's gonna jump up right after I said. He's also stupid because he came over to me for treats when I threw a 20 over there. All right. But we got the board bong, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. 7 of 10. Billy Bong, no natural gas at your place? Oh, yeah. Excuse me. I said propane. Is it propane? I think it is natural gas. You're right. I'm stupid. Not propane. It smells like propane, kind of. It's natural gas. I've said that before. I'm just so used to propane being the gas that you cook with. See, and then I'm pointing that shit at me right after I said don't do that. And that's how you should do it, is have it away. I also have windows open at all times, a fan on in here, which kind of sucks because I can't blow smoke rings anymore, if you haven't noticed. But I used to do that all the time. But overall, it's great to have airflow when you're doing this stuff. Also, just in general, it'll keep you from, I don't know, sometimes I was having panic attacks and I had to break it down. Like I said in the past, I was doing way too hot of dabs. I was smoking bad materials, the stuff that maybe wasn't purged of the butane it was made with. Smoking in a tiny room, no air, no windows open. I used to actually use the propane torch. I have one right over here. You can kind of see the head of it, just barely. This little silver thing there is a propane torch, and I'd be in here, and you get all fucked up, dude, and like I don't know. I wasn't thinking. And I think a lot of the people who do it, I mean, you don't think about it until it's too late. Usually, is the case with things, isn't it? Hindsight is always 2020. Where's a good carb cap, for the love of God? Oh, Ziggy, I know. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second while I take this dib. Where's my fucking thing? Don't have my thermometer. Don't have a carb cap. Anyway, let's hope that this isn't too hot, and I'll find a good carb cap by the time I need it. Cheers, everybody. Oh, yeah. Oh, let's see. God damn it. All right, I'm going to run and grab a carb cap real quick and the thermometer. There we go. Shit's over here just smoking. There. Oh, yeah. Wow. And it gets really warm in here. If you're ever cold, take a big fat dab. It will gain 20 degrees in 20 seconds. Woo! So, recently, I've been big on pulling out the whole thing to clear it. I've noticed that, like, even when I do this, it just never clears properly, because even without the carb cap on it, it's still kind of smoking. So there's always stale stuff in there, and it chokes me out on the next hit. So I've been big on taking the whole thing out and clearing it, which can be dangerous, and because you're touching right by where a fucking 400, 700 degree quartz finger is that's connected to it right there. So I don't really recommend doing it that way. And this should be your carb cap to clear it. But I've been thinking, I know a guy who works on quartz, of him making me something kind of like this with handle. You know what I mean? Something made for people to actually clear. And that way you can put a flat top banger on it, not this round one that just kind of locks into place. And then you have like a bowl, like a fucking normal bowl where you're clearing it like that. And I've noticed that that's been doing a lot better for me. Like I said, not the safest thing, so I don't know if I recommend doing it, but it's been working for me. Story of my life. All right. I'll probably get one more rip out of that. Man, this guy's ripping tonight. We're smoking some half strawberry pie, because I put 2 chunks in there. Half of it was strawberry pie. The other half was member berry. So, member berry pie, straw member berry. I think I did this last week too. All right. Whew. To be honest, I was half awake too. Very tired today. was late night last night. Oh, yeah. I've noticed when I pull it too, it's a little easier to clear it. It clears it all out. You're getting some fresh air mixing in, and it just helps me from dying too. So worth thinking about. Like I said, once I get someone to make me some custom glass uh, nails and not glass, some quartz, custom quartz. But I only know one guy, and he lives in Walsenburg, and that's far from here. It's like 5 hours away. Billy Bong, what's the new grow room? What's in the new grow room, and how are those citrix going? So, I have right now. I'm trying to think of everything I got. The citrix is okay. It kind of came back, but it seems like so the guy I got it from was pulling some crazy weight off of the citrix. That's why he loves it. I mean, it's got some of the strongest lemon terps I've ever smelled. Like it is citrusy. So I'm like, yeah, I'll check it out. God, I feel like I'm slurring all my words really bad. I need something. I need something to drink. But it was really smelly and it smelled good. So I'm like, okay. And then the weight he was getting was crazy. But I really have had a rough time with the plants. So every clone I took off of it hasn't made it. They all died. I don't know why, because I didn't do anything else different. It seems like the citrix. We were talking about this. You're saying that you don't water it much, and you know what? I quit watering it so much, and my dirt plant pepped right back up. The one I got from him as a clone, and then I used his clone that he gave me. I grew it, and I took clones off of it. It just seems like citrix is not a good hydroponics plant. It doesn't like all that moisture and all that fucking constant feeding or whatever. It's like I was saying, it's like a desert cactus pot, which is cool for some people. I think it's great for dirt because you don't have to water it that fucking much. It's cheap. It grows a ton. It's very indicated, bushy. Smells really good. Tastes good. But hydroponically, it just hasn't done well. So that being said, I had the grape ape plant that I harvested here on 2 weeks ago, I think it was. All those clones are ready to go into my hydroponic units. So I said, fuck it. It's more work, but I took out all the citrix and I had like 2 grape ape. I'm going to give those ones to my mom's and lambs. I'm going to give the ones that kind of did okay to her, and she can do what she wants with them. And then I was just going to restart my whole unit and do them all grape ape in that room. My first room that was already going, those citrix are doing okay, but still you can see. In one of my hydroponics units, I'll show you a picture. I should take a picture of them tonight because they're all looking pretty good. Just unfortunately, everything I got from my friends, I think I know what happened. Michael, loving the vibe, brother. Thank you. I had to read it exactly how you said it there. Billy Bong, my citrix clone started doing great. I looked at the soil and it was bone dry, basically watering one time a week in veg. And yeah, so it's a really weird plant. The grape ape did so well that I kind of and it was the stinkiest clone. Like the veg, sometimes veg plants don't smell that much, until they get some buds on them. That fucking grape ape, that clone smelled like finished pot. I'm like, that smells like dank. I'm like, dude, gotta grow that. And then it's growing. It's liking the hydroponics. What I've learned is you gotta go with what works with you. And what I learned is I was fortunate enough with mushrooms and pot that the first strains of each, which one is a species, I believe each type of mushroom is a different species than another. But regardless, each one I picked, what I picked to grow was great for beginners. Um, that's why I went back to a Northern Lights again. And my Northern Lights is rocking. My little clones have like a great huge stem. I'm like, see, that's what I want to see, is good starts. You know what I mean? And then have good finishes. That's why if I have really bad clones after a while, I'm like, you know what? I don't want to see what these are going to turn into. They've had such a stressful young life when you're desperate back in the day, but now I'm not. Anyway, shit's been going okay. I heard a ding. There's my carb cap right by my phone. I like this carb cap. Uh, this one's just very functional. It's got a perfectly flat top, so the seal is perfect. And then it's just got the right sized holes. It's mostly this one. It works. I have two, and this one works too. And I purposely broke off the end of this one. Uh, well, actually, I think it was chipped, and then I finished because it ended up fitting one of my old e-dabbers really well when I did that. Anyway, oh, shitty. Anyway, just looking at that Trevor Moore text I got again. It sucks. All right. Anyway, we're going to. I don't know. What do you want to do, Ziggy? Smoke a bowl, take a dab, roll a joint dab bowl. Anyway, but my Northern Lights is looking good. I got a couple of Citrix looking good. I have a fucking shit ton of Grape Ape clones. I took like, forget how many I took that day, but they're all doing great, every one of them. So uh, those are ready to transfer, and then I'll have my 9. What is it, or 7? Yep, I'll have my 7 hydro units back running. Right now, what I need to learn how to do is I have deep water culture units. What that means is it's like most people make them out of 5-gallon Lowe's or Home Depot buckets, paint buckets. Um, and you can turn that into a hydro unit. And you just put an air pump in it that recirculates the water, and that's pretty much it. Some people don't even have that, and they just wait until their roots can touch the water, and then they just, if you have enough flow in the actual tank of it, I guess you don't need to have a top feed system going on. I've always had a top feed. Anyway, that's how I grow these grower units, and I've had great luck with them for the most part. My whole, and it's my, basically I've done that in some soil, and soil has been hit and miss with me. So, but I don't know. I think it's more the environment I grew when I was doing soil as opposed to the soil itself. You know, I think that for me, soil just seemed more susceptible to getting pests and molds and shit. I just had worse luck with that. But I think that was because I was having a problem with my heat and temperature and humidity anyway at that time. My temperature and humidity. Anyway, growing has been in, the problem I'm having is the same problem I'm always having, but I'm really fucked right now, is time and money. You know what I mean? Balancing the fact that constantly I have something to do. And I really don't want to give up this show. So my Saturday nights are filled, and then literally every other day is filled, and every other hour. And so I'm like, fuck. And then I'm constantly picking up more shit I need to do. I feel very bad because I was supposed to do a bunch of videos on the show. Uh, and I feel bad because I really wanted to do them and would like to do them, and just haven't been able to fucking find any time. Uh, Shit was going very hard there for a minute, and I just needed some mental stability time. So there's that. And then just all this shit. It gets weird balancing your life, and it sucks. And one thing I've always known this, just because it shows itself as self-evident as you live your life. But you know, sometimes I keep on making plans, like doing an album, joining a band, fucking making an art project, doing a video, shooting another video, interviews, all these ideas. And then I'm like, you know what? I'll wait until I have just a little more time, and I'll save up a little bit of money. I'll save some money. I'll have some more time. I'll take it off. And throughout my life, I've realized that you're going to have less time and more obligations, which usually means you're going to have to spend more money to fulfill those obligations. It's responsibilities of paying whatever. So I'm like, you have to do things now. It goes back to that just being in the present moment right now is all you got. Everything else is a fantasy. It's a different realm of reality to you. I mean, it's something, but it's not what you're experiencing. So you really have to make sure you're doing the right thing there. And I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, let's get a bowl in us. Keep getting dings, which is unusual for me, but it's probably going to be more usual for me. All right. But Citrix looks like I said, it was pretty good. And the impressive thing was the weight he was pulling off of the nugs and just the general, per plant. I forget what he was getting, but he was showing me. And compared to everything else, that I was growing, that green crack was the most depressing fucking plant I've ever grown, for multiple reasons. It was the first time I had gotten back into it in like 15 years, and 10 at least, I would say. Probably more like 10, but still, or less. Even sometimes times fuck with me. But anyway, it was a very long time I stopped growing, and I don't know. There's a lot of little things I didn't do. Also, it turned out, when I first started growing, I just had everything done right. I just was lucky enough to get it right the first time, and then just keep going with that. But as soon as I started where I live is really hard when all I have is a swamp cooler to keep things cool. So in the winter, it's perfect, but in the summer, it's really hard to maintain temps. This brings me back to what I was saying earlier. I have these power growers, those one little eco grower systems is what they're called. I have one nice big one that has 6 of them connected, which is good and bad. But I kind of recommend those. Those are dope in a way. Anyway, I have like 7 in one room, which is it's fucking terrible to have it like this. So it's called deep water culture. I need recirculating deep water culture to change it into that, which I don't know how to do at this moment. I'm in a Facebook group called Deep Water Culture Growing. I think DWC Cannabis Growing or something like that. I'm in some group like that, and all they do is talk about this type of growing, which I'm like, fuck, I wish I would have had this years ago. I should have even looked this up when I first started growing again, because any questions I have, there are people who are dealing with the exact same thing I am. So I've over the years had so many questions, and then just guess your way through it. Hydroponics is like, it's easier in some ways, and it's very unforgiving in others. So I don't know. It is what it is, but I'm trying to figure out how to connect. So right now I have 7 units, each power grower, eco grower, or whatever they're called. Each growing unit, hydroponic growing unit, is individual. The only thing that connects them is an air pump. So they're all on the same air pump that does 4. So I have 2 4s and a 1, and which also sucks. I need a bigger air pump that connects all of them. That's not the point. Point is that all their water reservoirs are not connected. They're just, you have to dump each one individually and add nutrients individually and check. So if I want to keep the water, for instance, a certain temperature, I can't get a water chiller. That's something that keeps the water at a certain temperature. Like for fish, they have those, and for it's usually heaters they have. But sometimes you need a heater too. So they're water balancers. You can keep your temperatures. But what, get 7 individual ones and they're like fucking $300 a piece? That's not even feasible. But if you connect all those units together with tubing, and you have a giant reservoir on the side that pumps the water through them all, you can just put a chiller in the one unit. But I might even have to do that. So I have some looking up to do, is what I'm trying to say. Um, I just have such little time, but this will save me a lot of time in the long run. So I don't know. Hydroponics is a weird thing. I would highly recommend them for doing 1 or 2 units, but when you get to like above 4 units, deep water culture, you need to change into recirculating deep water culture. Something I've been experimenting with. That's where I have my most expertise in growing, and even then, it's I don't know. It's a lot in what you start with. It turns out genetics are so huge. I used to have this feeling when I was growing that you give me any plant, give me any seed, give me seeds from the swaggiest dirt weed you have. And if I grow it in my conditions, in my room, it's going to be amazing because that's how good a luck I had with all the plants I did. I'm like, no matter what I get, it's just fucking, they're turning out perfect. And I was getting fucking those giant nuts, like huge colas, like fucking 3 ounce colas and shit like that. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. And, but you know what I'm starting to think is I don't think that's right. I'm like, I think that a lot of it was is I had a really good connect on clones, old school, someone I trusted, and was giving me great shit. And when that went away, I noticed that's when all my problems started. It was so hard to keep shit okay. And I was moving around, changing my system up a little bit. But it's a finicky mistress growing pot. Uh, kind of, you know. uh, it's actually really easy when you grow it outside, if you ask me. If you grow it like tomatoes and use the sun and you live in a decent climate, you don't have to worry about so many things. Not only is the sun free, but you'll get huge plants because you can potentially get gigantic plants. So you get more product. You have to wait a long time. It should be one plant, one season. You know, you have to wait a whole season for that plant to grow. But if you do it right, you can get fucking massive plants, massive buds. But then, the air, you shouldn't have to cool them or heat them if you're living in an ideal, temperature, which not many of us are, but still, there's so many benefits to doing it. It's just, like even here in Colorado where it's super legal, pot's legal. It's like, yeah, but it's so regulated. I'm like, freedom isn't uh, treated that way. You know what I mean? There isn't always such fine lines. That's why it's not free. It's regulated. And you know what I mean? Like, until you can just fucking grow it anywhere. I don't know. So I deliver pizzas sometimes, and food and stuff, and delivery. And I was delivering to a house not far from where I live, actually, because I deliver everywhere. And what you call it? I was going up there, and in this guy's front fucking yard. At first, it just looked like a giant, literal weed. And then I'm like, fuck, dude, that is a plant that's already like fucking 4 feet tall, bushy, beautiful plant. Beautiful, actually. And I'm like, dude, I'm on 2 major roads. I'm like, dude, you could see that from anywhere. Granted, even I thought because it's so blatant in the front yard that there's no way it's a pot plant and it's bushy. So you're like, oh, that looks like a. But then after a while, it's like, okay, that's a pot plant. And I'm like, right here. So anyone who delivers mail is right there. Anyone who fucking does anything is right there. I'm like, dude, you might be able to get away with that now, but as soon as that fucker is budding, and it's gonna get huge by that time because you still got like a month and a half, dude, before it starts fucking flowering and fucking finishing up. I'm like, anyway, I'm like, you're gonna have problems, man. Fucking, I had a friend who grew in the backyard and had a greenhouse, had a huge one, and the only reason they got away with it was because they lived they were the house next to a trail with fields. So there's no house on that way. They only had one person next to them. Their road was a big ass road with a median in between. So the house across the street from them was super far away, and the people on the left of them fucking smoked pot and partied. And so they never cared. So that combination, like, you just couldn't, although he had to hide it really well because there was a trail that you could walk, and I'm sure sometimes they would smell it and be like, okay, somebody is growing fucking pot in one of these houses. But it was kind of hard to figure out. He never got in trouble with it. So that house was just set up just right that it worked. But it's very rare. I mean, legally, you can't grow for shit. Um, you can't grow in a shed. You can't grow in a grow house. You can't grow in your yard, even if it's fucking you got 6 foot privacy fences. So that's what sucks is I want to grow outside really, really bad. And even when you have all these regulations and shit thrown at you, um, I think California has more open shit. Denver, you just can't. Because I looked it up. I'm like, what if I do this? Nope. What if I do that? Nope. What if you do anything? No. There's no growing outside unless you fucking have like like an acre of land that's designated for commercial fucking marijuana permitted. And it's probably like, it's untouchable by normal people. 7. Can you shed some light on THCO? I've seen strange shows bid on it, but I'm still curious to hear other people's thoughts. I haven't heard about THCO, so I don't know. Apparently, I'm not the one to ask. Uh, I'm sure it's just another variant like THCA, THC, Delta 9, Delta 8, those variances. One thing I do know is anytime you see the letters THC together, that compound will be tested, drug tested. So even if it's legal right now, if that's the thing, and you can get high from it, your drug test will still show up with it. That was like those Delta 8 smokes I have. I should smoke one because it sounds good. I should roll a joint is what I should do because that sounds even better. But yeah, I should do something. Why do I have no pot cat? Because I keep having cats on me. But anyway, when you get drug tested, they don't look up what type of THC it is. So that's something to keep in mind. Is anytime you see THC, I was told, no matter what variant it is, even if it's legal, even if it'll pop you for a hot piss test, as it's known. This is some Afghani, which I've always really liked this strain. I've grown it once, and it's just a really spicy kind of like a spice, not spicy like as in hot, but like an old spice or tea kind of smell. And I don't know, very nice. I'm a very big fan of the Afghani. And it just seems like such an old school strain that when I see it, I do kind of jump on it. That being said, this is their cheapest popcorn shake shitty pot they have. Uh, I go to a place called Mighty Tree and get their popcorn buds is what they call it, because really they are good buds, even though they're probably the worst buds of the plant. But I mean, they're still nuggage, especially for rolling joints like I do. Um, but they're cheap. It's what, 85 an ounce, 80, I think. It's maybe like a little bit more of tax, so it's like 85 an ounce for these popcorn buds, and they usually have a pretty good selection. Sometimes you get lucky and they're quite smokable. Honestly, this Afghani is not as good as a lot of the Afghani I've gotten, but you get what you can do. I've been quite broke, so it's been what's cheap for years. And I'm like, if I'm not growing it, I just get what I can afford. I'm not going to pay fucking 300 an ounce for somebody else's pot, especially since even when I'm growing dope pot, I don't have anybody who's, no buyers anymore. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that for myself. 7, believe it's derived from hemp light CBD, but supposed to be 300 times Delta 9, and CIA tests the TGE 60s all around. Interesting. Uh, it's just an interesting subject. Yeah, no joke. Aaron, I wouldn't mess with the zero. Get D9 or medical problems down. Oh, or get medical problems down the line. It hasn't been tested near as much as other cannabis compounds. That being said, is the problem is how you get it. So the same with Delta 8. I did a video on Delta 8, and I tried to be reasonably comprehensive about it, but I mean, people shouldn't be going to me if you want to hear a fucking lab explanation. You come to me if you want to hear about a guy who actually smokes it and will tell you it doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. That's not what concerns me. It's just here's what it is, here's what I think. So, I mean, I care about your feelings. It's not about Delta 9 or 8. But yeah, so the problem is how they acquire them in such large amounts. These THC compounds that are, side compounds, or sometimes, they have to be altered in any way, shape, or form. If that's the case, you need so much initial hemp. The Delta 8 comes from hemp too. Hemp as in, hemp, not marijuana. They're both cannabis. Cannabis is a mother term for both plants, but hemp, cannabis. So the hemp plant contains Delta 8. It's just such a small amount that that's why it's so expensive too. Also, you can't that's why you can't just smoke hemp. It doesn't come in a flower form. You have to have it extracted and then they spray it back onto hemp. So it's all from hemp and it is hemp. It's a weird thing. Aaron, it's an isolate like CBD, uh, but with all the, and you can, I've seen it. Are you talking about zero? Because Delta 8, yeah, it can be also distillate too, is how I've seen it made. But with all the added terps and additives. So it's an isolate like CBD, but they add shit, which you can do with CBDs, I've seen too. It's like fake carts, which those can be synthetic drugs all around. So you gotta be really kind of careful. Uh, Most companies are not legal that make it, or they don't need to provide test results, and there are no legal requirements about testing. So many companies fill it with additives and cutters and to stretch the product. No, the other isolate, the isolate itself comes from a low quality batch that they need to get rid of, which unfortunately, a lot of the time, that's how they made all concentrates. Is, oh, this shit's fucked. What do we do with it? Make hash out of it, because that magically will make it better, and it doesn't. Or if it has seeds in it, what do? Oh, my bud got seeds in it, but it looks great. Turn it all into hash. So a lot of the hash you get has something wrong with it, unfortunately. I had a friend a long time ago who was right when medical first started, was in that shit right away. So they had a very early thing. When caviar was the first big thing, it was called caviar. It's moon rocks. Although moon rock it's kind of like Kleenex or something like that, where like you mean tissue paper, but Kleenex has such a fucking monopoly on it that you say, hand me a fucking Kleenex. Moon Rocks is the same way. Moon Rocks is made by Corrupt, I believe, from, the Dog Pound and all that shit from the Bay Area. And he did so well with it that eventually it's all Moon Rocks now because he fucking coined that shit. So good and bad for him. He kind of, anyway. Caviar, when it first came out, is when you take a bud, dip it in oil, roll it in keef. My friend said, he's like, don't ever buy fucking caviar, at least from my place, because he's like, that's what we do with all the bud that we don't like, and it doesn't smoke very long. He's like, but people fucking love it, and it gets used so stoned because we literally dunk it in fucking oil and roll it in keef. He's like, why do you think we? He's like, we only do that with our fucking buds that we can't sell as bud, because if we can, we'll sell it as flower. Gosh darn CRC bullcrap makes my blood boil to get a bad cart, I'm guessing, that has silicate in it. I would never get cartridges from people I don't know personally. First off, I'm not into smoking cartridges. I don't like it. I've done it. And as soon as I was able to get a vaporizer, that I can load myself, because I was making my own carts back before you could buy them. And literally before they were on the market, I used to make my own hash oil when I was growing and would mix it with propylene glycol. And this was after I was growing. So I was just buying it. I went to medical places, but they didn't have carts. But you could get Rick Simpson oil and all these honey oils. So I'd get honey oil, mix it myself with propylene glycol, fill my own cart from a fucking vaporizer or from some shit. You could buy your own empty carts back then, and I'd make them myself for fucking way cheaper. And like I knew what was going into them. Um, so you can make your own carts. It's not impossible. I just I don't trust a lot of things, and I'm sad to see that's how it goes. And if you're gonna buy shit illegally on the black market, buy nugs, because it's a lot harder to fake the real thing. But cartridge, what the fuck? Uh, that being said, I understand why so many people do smoke carts, because like I said, it's the only way to not smell like pot and shit like that. It's much more easy and convenient to sneak it around, and when it's illegal, that's key. So I don't know. Vast perception. What up, Venom? Glad to see you back every week. I'm always here, man. I was gone for a couple months there, but shit got really fucked. I needed to take a break, and also I had shit going on where I literally couldn't do it. Well, I guess I could literally do it. I just needed some time off, and was having fucking teeth problems. I was having my shoulder still. Am I getting surgery, or is my insurance company and lawyer fucking going to dick me around? I got into an accident 9 months ago now, and I just now saw the fucking specialist after seeing all of the complaining for this whole time, being like, dude, I'm still in pain. I'm still hurting when I do physical labor. Like, it has an ache all the time. So I'm like, I was out of it. But other than that, I'm always here. Vast. Well, I hope it settles down for you. The key is just remaining persistent. You know what I mean? I have a tendency when shit goes bad to just kind of shut down and be like, okay, like this show, I don't have to do it. Make music, I don't have to do that. All I have to do is go to work. You know what I mean? Pay bills. And I get no joy and no happiness from that. So that's easy to do when I'm upset. Fuck it. So, uh, but overall, persistence and just saying, shit sucks. I know it sucks, but you know what? I'm still going to live my life as though it doesn't, and start to eventually believe that, and shit kind of usually comes around. You make shit happen a little bit that way. And maybe it's more of a, you don't really make things happen, but that mentality gets you through the shitty point to get to a good point. So it kind of feels like you just made it happen, where it's like, oh, I thought good things and I lived my life like good things were happening, even though they fucking weren't. What do you know? Good things happen. It's not so much that you made those good things happen, it's that life goes up and down. And if in your down moments you're still able to keep a mental state that's high, you feel like you've never, you made that. People like to think they're in control a lot more than they are. You give people a button that does nothing, tell them to watch the stock market, and tell them that button will make it go up or down accordingly. They'll fucking think they do. And the more they think that they make a difference with that button that does nothing, the more in real life they live their life like they have more effect on more people, because those are the people who live their life thinking that they affect the most, but they really, well, actually, excuse me, they don't affect more, they affect less. They usually have jobs of the least importance. It's kind of like the front doorman who thinks he owns the building. The security guard who's like, this is mine. I'm like, usually, well, the more you think that you have ownership and control, the fact is you don't. You know what I mean? It's not until you can let go of those things that you acquire them. That's why the only good leaders are the people who don't want to do it. And until you're thrust upon people, you have to be forced into those situations. If you do it on your own, you're not doing it for the right reasons. It's kind of like if you save a homeless person because it was a assignment for your church. I mean, you kind of, you won't really gain that spiritual on a certain level, in my opinion. uh, I think intent is a big thing. Granted, we fuck up intentions, but you still have to have good ones. So cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining me for another night. It's 9:29, and I'm feeling fine with my little friend Ziggy and all you. So cheers. Like I said, I was in a really shitty spot, like really shitty. I had a terrible time ever since fucking the trip to Portland I took, and going to Portland sucked. Portland's great, but my trip didn't go well. So I've just been in a bad place, in a bad mood. But like I said, you just have to really get through those. And what do you know? Things kind of get better. So I'm actually doing pretty good at the moment, which is crazy because that's just another one of those roller coasters in life. Uh, I always manage to break even. I feel like for every good thing, a bad thing. I'm like, I'm pretty lucky. I have a very not a excellent life, not a horrible life in the grand scheme of things. I'm very privileged and lucky. And we all live the life of kings. We're living in a space age futuristic time. I was at the gas station pumping my gas in my fucking electric car. Well, half electric pile of shit hoopty now. Anyway, I was pumping gas. Obviously, it wasn't electric because I'm pumping gas. But I'm like in a funky looking car, and the TV screen lights up on the. There's like a TV screen in the pump. That's how they do it now, right? They're showing you commercials or whatever. And one of the commercials is, delayed space travel flights to connect to the International Space Station, and it showed this picture from the International Space Station and a floating fucking like little tube craft, and it was like, I'm like, this is, if you beamed here from 30 years ago, 40 years ago, this is the future, dude. It's here. It sucks, but it's here. Everything's on fire, and we're fighting each other, and a lot of the problems as humans. But I'm like, I don't know. It just was a very weird moment of feeling like, okay, yeah, this is a very futuristic time. There's people flying through space, and fucking we're all connected in an instant, and we can put cameras up there and show it and instantly show how round the world is. I don't know. It was just very interesting, and it was one of those out of time moments where I'm like, I am just a monkey looking at another monkey flying through space, and yeah, it was interesting. Vast perception. It's crazy how we're living in the time where we have the most access to knowledge ever, but more and more people believe more and more stupid things. I don't think more and more stupid things. I think we haven't advanced. You can lead, you can lead a mule to water, but you can't keep it from being a jackass. We still have to take a lot of responsibility on ourselves. We are in a time where we can learn anything at any given time, or at least we can investigate it, non-objectively or whatever, where we actually, or objectively, where we actually we could look at both sides of any story. We can do this, but unfortunately, a lot of people like to feed their own self-serving ego, where if you're gonna look at something you believe in, you're gonna look at your opinion of it. You know what I mean? Whoever already has something similar to your own opinion, that's what you're gonna look up. But it's really hard to look at both sides of the story. But that's what it requires sometimes to actually have knowledge of it. You know what I mean? History is written by the winners because one side of the story is gone. They always burn. They burn Eleusis. They burn Alexandria. They burn everything, and then they just rebuild on top of it. Because if you have no history, then you really are a victim of the story. So, and eventually, we all become nothing more than a story. We become a thought, and that thought can be perverted. And that's why it's really important to have knowledge like we do. And that's what the internet is so important. Uh, it can't be destroyed at this point. It can be censored, and then it just gets fucking decensored. You know what I mean? I think for every single person who's living in a country and they have a VPN and access to the internet, good for fucking you. I get people on this show who are in countries where you're not supposed to get this show. That's fucking cool. When I get somebody in a country like China or something, and I'm like, you're not supposed to have this show. You're not supposed to have fucking YouTube about fucking this shit. You know what I mean? You have a very censored internet, and good for you. Good for fucking you. I'm a big fan of people breaking rules that oppress your fucking freedoms, but at the same time, it's more, especially I think the worst things you can keep from people is knowledge. It's like food and water and air. Knowledge, you know, it's like a clean place to live and a healthy environment. You have to know these things, otherwise you're not going to think enough to change them. So, uh, vast perception. Just because someone finds someone else saying the same thing as them, they think they're correct. It's a huge circle jerk. Yeah, yeah. Uh, it can be. But like I said, the information is there. You don't have to do that. It's just really hard not to, especially since we tend to get on each other's nerves so much, which really makes me realize how much we're the same person. You know, that's how come you fucking hate other people so much. Is because they're you. They're the part of you you don't like, and you don't want to see, and you don't want to hear, and you don't want to help them. You don't want to do anything. Sometimes you want to change them at best, but most of the time you want to punch them in the face. Is because we're all the same person and the same thing. We're all a human race. I am. From the outside, we're just plankton, and you don't separate those things. It doesn't matter if one piece of plankton has a different agenda than the other. Do you care? Does the whale care? No, it doesn't matter. So, I don't know. You have to really be willing to accept other people that you don't necessarily like, hear them out, and, learn to have a conversation. The best thing you can do is just talk with other people. As soon as you cut out the conversation, that leads a separation. And then those two people can eventually form fucking a complete hatred of each other. It's hard to hate people you see every day and have to interact with and realize that they are the people who help you. You know, when we run in a herd, we all run together and people get trampled and shit. And if there aren't people to pick you up, we're all victims of that. So, vast perception. Some freedoms need to be oppressed if they are damaging to the rest. Well, yeah. I mean, and that's pretty much a big part of it. I think when it becomes like, when it comes to drugs, those are victimless crimes usually. You hurt yourself, but I mean, you can be self victimized, but isn't that your right? Isn't it your right to be able to do those things to yourself? I think it should be. I am. And like I said, as long as you're not hurting other people, I think that's a big part of it. I think that's naturally what we all feel. As long as you're not hurting anyone else, do your thing. We all say that, but a lot of us don't, uh, practice what we preach. They're really into their own personal freedom while telling someone else to do something else, or saying that they're not equal for doing something else. Uh, it's hard to not throw stones when you live in a glass house. It's just an interesting thing when people are attacking other people's freedoms, and then preaching about their own. So I don't know. We are a diametrically opposed species. You know, everything we do, we're very at odds, contradicting, and our greatest people are sometimes the worst at it. You know, uh, and it's interesting. Vast perception, 100% agree with the drugs. If all drugs were legal, there'd be less crime, less murders, less deaths. Yes, I think, oh, there's a puppy. I think there's a puppy. Is there a puppy? Do you see a little tail? Where's your treats? You know, I brought in treats for you. Fucking Milkbone hasn't yet sponsored this. Oh, the cat's gone. Okay, cat, we'll get you some treats over here. And then you can get one right here. There you go. Do you see the puppy? There's a puppy. There's a puppy. It's mostly cats right now, but you get the picture. There is a puppy over here. Unfortunately, the side effect of bringing out the puppy treats is the cats freak out and fucking swarm. Look at that kitty. Yeah, it's fluffy time. It's time for some fluffiness. There we go. Yeah, cats are pretty awesome. I like them because they're the perfect little murdering machines, yet they're soft and cuddly, and that combination's it's just nice. All right, what if I take these? Toss them over here. Okay. Hey, Phoenix. 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 There you go. Go get your treat. I just tossed a whole bunch of treats. You guys gotta go get them. I swear, you cats are fucking something else. Well, Phoenix ate all your cat treats. White Willow, hey, yo, what's up, man? Is what White Willow says. It's I hope you're enjoying this fuzzy moment of catness. All these treats. There's like so many treats down here. Look at the treats. Oh, look how many treats you got right there. There you go. But not much. Things are going okay, as good as ever. Like I said, sometimes you just gotta act like everything's fine and wait for them to do so accordingly. But yeah, how is everyone else doing? I hope you're doing well. I hope everything's staying positive. Um, I'm still here, still doing my show. Uh, Time has been a very hard thing to come by in my line, but that's okay. Sandy Catbutt TV, yeah, no joke. Hey, hey. There you go. There's a puppy. Yeah, why don't you get your butt out of the screen, Missy? That got her. You have to throw them just right for her to have her interest. Here. I got one more Rudolph Phoenix. All right. Well, there they are. White Willow for all your furry butt needs. Yeah, no joke. At least once in the show, every time there's just nothing but cat, just pure cat for the whole fucking screen. Which I don't hate that. Yeah, like I said, I can't do anything. The cats are very jealous of anything I'm doing. If I'm playing the guitar, cats. Doing the show, cats. About to take a dab, cats. Like, fuck, man. I love them. I do. It's actually a pretty great feeling when I come home every day or when I wake up out of bed. Literally, I got two cats on my lap, the dog's right there. The unconditional love I receive from my animals, my pets, my buddies, my little furry children is just crazy. Yeah, it's something really deep about that. Like I said, it's just very extreme. You know, they fucking come bundling at you. And it's just great. Um, that makes me feel like I did okay raising them, you know, as animals, is because they're fucking just so affectionate. I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing something right because they're really good with people. You know what I mean? So when I see a cat and it fucking freaks out when you go to pet it, I'm like, ugh, you know, like who's done what to this cat or what life has it had. Sometimes it's just, you know, rescue cats and rescue dogs could be a little rough too. So, and those people who are able to take care of rescue cats and rescue animals and be able to have people who are fucking rescue people in their lives, people who have had really bad problems. You know, that's the same way. It's like if you're able to get past that and be able to work with people, it really shows a sign of you that, again, really means a lot and connects us all. So the Ferdin of the Meow, the fur babies. Uh, yeah, I mean they're special. And honestly, I wouldn't have the show like I do without those cats. I think, you know what I mean. I think a lot of people watch the how to make hash video because they have a slight interest in how to make hash. Who doesn't? And then they see my thumbnail, and I don't even think there's a cat on there, but maybe whatever they click on it, and whoever stays long enough to see the cats do their thing. It's when I just got Panda too, and she's doing all this cute shit at the camera. She's seeing herself in the camera, uh, the little video at the time. I guess when I still, yeah, when I shoot, no, I don't. I guess I used to use the reverse screen. So I have these cameras like that, and this little screen right here. I think this was the one she was looking at. So she could see herself in the camera. You know what I mean? And she was like freaking out and all this cute shit. So I think a lot of people watched the video for whatever reason, saw the panda and saw the Ziggy, became fans, liked it, and that kind of got the ball rolling. And then that's why we're here hanging out. So I owe these cats so much. And one thing I always say, I have treats with me. They're not to bring the cats here. They're usually to get the cats the fuck away from me so I can take a dab, and which apparently I don't do on the show because I don't shut the fuck up. All right. All right. White Willow. Oh, yes. Oh my God. Oh, wait. Vast. I always hated cats because when I was a kid, I got scratched really bad by a cat. And now I own three, and they're all the nicest animals I know I've ever owned. It's all about how they're raised. Well, they're just like people. Like I said, you can hear her meowing and screaming down there. All right. And sometimes, like I said, it's not the people. So don't always directly judge somebody if they have a dog or cat that freaks out. They could have rescued and adopted those animals and, you know, got them to this point. You know what I mean? And, you know, and it's always a working process. White. Yes. Oh my God. The reason I started watching your videos was your "What the fuck is this?" uh, episode and etc. Yeah. Uh, and facts. Hey, what are you doing? Stop, 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 stop. She eats pieces of paper, and she half eats them. She like just shreds them apart and chews on them, and pieces of foam. And so if I keep any of my paperwork on the floor, she's just sitting there chewing. She'll literally eat my homework like a fucking cat, man. Vast perception. The first video I saw was how to make hash, like over a year ago, and that's the one. That's the one that everybody sees. It's got now like it actually stopped rolling, and the reason is they age restricted it. So when there wasn't an age restrict on it, like it was like fucking views were rolling in. I was getting, I forget what it was, like 10,000 views a fucking like month or whatever, or more, or something like that. Because it was well on its way to, it'd probably be more closer towards 1 million views right now than it is. Uh, it's at like just under 400,000 views, which I'm like, it jumped. It was wrong. And it's because it's drug related. It's because I don't monetize, so they don't make any money off of it. Uh, if you see an ad on it, it's because they want a piece of it. And then they slapped an age restriction. So you have to be signed in, you have to be on an account and verify that you're a certain age. And a lot of people aren't. So they're just randomly on their phone or they're on a computer or something. That, yeah, that fucked my views. All my views went down. So whatever. White Willow, damn. Yeah. Vast. That video was in my recommended on a Strain Central vid. Okay, and that's good to know. And they'll show you in your analytics or whatever, like where people saw your video and how many click on it. That one has huge rates on everything, or did. Like I said, you can see the graph, and like there's this huge spike, and then it just stops. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's not the video. You don't suddenly go huge, and then you're like, you know what? People don't like you anymore. They don't like this video, and this is stupid. Like, no, that's not what fucking happened. They slapped an age restriction on it. They also, they've done a lot of things with me where they just don't like the fact, well, I'm making drugs, you know? Not really. Hash is barely a drug. Vast. I came for the hash, stayed for the dreads. The dreads just make it valid, you know? They add some validity to it. Cat, you are just causing all types of trouble. Hey, what are you doing? uh, White Willow, yes, just yes. Yeah, I got some pretty epic dreads going finally. I'm sitting on them and shit. They're as nice as they are annoying. I often think about cutting them nice and short and just starting over, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I also think about, I thought about growing the beard back out. Me and my grandma, anytime I don't see her, I pretty much start growing the beard back out. But uh, there's a bunch of crap going on there too, which is hard because I really love my grandma. So. White Willow, no, not the dread. See, I probably won't cut. Well, like I said, cutting them short or trimming them might be nice, but also I've gotten used to it. It's such a slow process of getting long hair that I don't see. It's hard to kind of complain about it because it's not like one night you wake up. If I gave you my head of hair overnight, first off, you'd be like, "Fuck, this is heavy and it's crazy," but it's so slow. It is what it is. Vast, you look 10 years younger without the beard. No shit. I yes. Okay, I think I told you when I grew that I had a fucking pretty epic beard going, really. I was proud that I can grow it. You know, I didn't hate the beard, and it also hides any the acne uh, anvils I'm hiding. No, and it hides any blemishes on my face. So that's nice too. It's a hidden bonus. And also, if you hide your chin and your jawline, uh, the imagination takes over and it can be whatever you want. So people just imagine that people with beards have like this epic chin going on, and really they're just like some. I don't know. Every video anymore. If you ever watch a video that contains a fucking angry white guy with a beard holding this in his car, let me tell you something. Turn it off. Shut it the fuck off right then. They have nothing important to say, and even if they do, that information should just stay with them. Yeah. It's kind of like anytime you see a video where they're doing like a recipe and it starts with them fucking playing with their food. I'm like, okay, that was fucking, oh, that got old real fucking fast. Fuck off and find something original. I'm not watching your stupid recipe. White Will, you put your hand up if you were here. Put your hand up if you were here for the beard. I got a lot of comments. People liked the beard. The only reason I cut off the beard, which I bet would have been fucking epic by now, was my grandma really hates the beard. And right when I got the vaccine and was able to start seeing her again. She was vaccinated. Before she ever saw the beard, I cut it off. She already wasn't a fan of the dreads. So, although one of the times I saw her, like last, not long ago, she said something like, your dreads really do really nice. I was like tying them back or something and putting them up. And I'm like, that's huge for my grandma. For a 90-year-old woman who I know hates dreadlocks, I took advice. Quit showing everyone your blood. No one wants to see that blood. What are you looking at? Is there a fly or something? Do you hear that? Do you hear it? She's screaming at the fly. And now she's sitting here. All right. All right. Michael J. I heard it. Oh, wait. Michael J. About to heat up some salsa con queso with some hot Cheetos just blazed on some weed wedding cake out my sick cosmic hemper rig. What's a cosmic hemper? Is that a person or a type of bong I need to know about? I'm down to look it up. Too hot to main. White Willow dreads do look fresh and clean and tied up when they're tied up in a pony, or when they're now long enough. I can do this crazy, all the crazy tie ups that people do with their dreads. And Sandy, hands up. Was that for the beard? But I can do the cool way you tie up your hair, and it does look pretty good. I like it. It's just, it gives me a headache. It's a lot of pressure on your head. So, Vast. Yeah, you had some dope dread styles in your older videos when they were tied up shorter. Yeah, shit like that. And I kind of like doing those. But they hurt when you have this much hair. Putting them up, tying them up, fucking gives me a headache. So when I'm on the show and I have all these lights in my face and I'm taking dabs and this and that, sometimes it just isn't the best. So I had to stop. Michael J. Hemperbox. Should I look that up on Instagram right now? You're saying? Lonock, the mighty Lonock, is with us. Oh, my phone's about to die, so I better look this up right now. Yeah, I should do more stuff with my dreads. It's just I'm very prone to headaches. Oh man, I can't even look at that. So sad. All right. What is it? Hemper box. Hemper Box Co. No. Hemper Box. I'm not seeing anything. Or is it hamper? Hamper. Huh. Is it the Hamper Box? No, that's the Hamper Box. I don't know. Anyway, my phone's about to die. Christina, hello, tuning in from work for a second. Since you're still live, I watch your show when I get off work. Well, that's cool, and thank you so much. I know a lot of people who play hooky and watch this while they're at work. Some people, yeah, join in too, and I'm like, good for you. Fuck the man. No, White Willow. Hella people in here. Let's go. Hell yeah. Anytime I get towards 10, it feels like a lot to me. And if it gets towards 20, it gets hard for me to read the comments. So, vast perception, facts. My hair's down past my nips. I like that's your where you're gauging it. And when it's in a bun, I get mad headaches. Couple, imagine having heavy dreads with that. Yeah, dude. And my dreads are fucking like down to my like, well, they're low. Let's say lower than my nips. Hamper box, says Michael J. Yeah, vast perception. Hamper box. When I looked it up on Instagram, that's what comes up is hamper box. I'm like, all right, did you mean hamper? Fucking stuff. Michael J. US has a green profile. Sorry, it's Hemperco on Insta. Yeah, I thought I saw that. Vast couldn't. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, even though this is literally just a show about my cat's ass. That's what we're tuning into. but that's okay. I can't do much better myself. I'll look one more time for Hemper Box. Let's see here. I looked it up. Hemper Box. Hemper Box. Hemper. Hemper Co. All right. Is it the anyway? Oh, then when you know the cat's gone. Okay. Okay, and that's what I thought I should have. Is it where they send you like random shit every month? Bucky. Oh wait, no. Duck Bong. Same Duck Bong. Okay. Eh. Something like that. Finally. My phone is about to die. I never understood where the Duck Association. I follow that guy. I forget what his name is. Where he's like, he makes very high end shit though, like fucking thousands of dollars, and he has tons of ducks on his shit. The duck thing took off there. I think he did that. White Willow, do you think that Hamper would have enough weed to last a couple months? I hope so. Drummer Boy, what have you been smoking on? Also, a new glass bro. So, Drummer, thank you for asking. I'm smoking on some Afghani right now, which is okay because it's hard to smoke because I'm covered in cats. We're going to spin the wheel of dabs, and we're going to be dabbing on some strawberry pie and memberberry wax and some guava sundae and Tangy Queen shatter. And knocking shit down. Anyway, sorry, buddy. Whew. All right. Michael J, I just got the cosmic one. Okay, that's cool. I'll have to check it out, except for my phone's like dead. So, and I need that phone on. So, just in case I've been getting texted straight. So, yeah. Vast. Hemper Box is only worth it if you get the top tiers, so you get decent sized pieces, which makes sense. Goddamn autocorrect. I also got some Purple Punch and some Grape Ape. So I'm growing Grape Ape right now, which I'm very excited on, except for it's very sativa-ish on how it's growing. I don't care what the genetics say. Mine's growing very tall and lanky, which I've been having bad luck with those types of plants. I'm getting good yields, but good stuff. White Willow. Oh, that's wicked, though. Also, we're not going to talk about Peace Water. Wait, hold on. What am I missing here? Do you think Hamper would have enough? Oh, wait, hold on. White Willow. That's wicked. Wicked, though. Also, we're not going to talk about Peace Water. Is there Peace Water? Oh, my water? I should probably drink some water. Vast. Do a grow vid sometime. I've been planning on it. It's just I have so much shit going on. I have a lot of videos. So I have 2 different companies that sent me products in exchange for me doing videos. And it's been like a month and I haven't done either. And one's been like 4 months and they're probably like, this guy just fucking ripped us off. And I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll do the video. Shit's been fucked, dude. My life's fucked at times. So, but grow videos are a big thing, especially now that I'm getting back into the swing of how I like to grow. But yes, sometimes on my Instagram, which is just Venom420 on Instagram, I have some updates, but it's been a long time. Drummer Boy, if I message you on Instagram, would you read it about having a sesh or something like that? Yeah, I always read my stuff. We could go to a marijuana bar. Do what you call it. Yeah, Instagram is good, but what was I gonna say about that? Oh yeah, and I'm in Denver, so there's that. But whatever. Anyway, yeah, go for it, dude. I always talk to people who, I only get a few. I've had some really cool conversations with people on Instagram lately that I can't quite talk about right now, but they are cool people. So, Lonok, I love the Grape Ape. It smells sweet and earthy, and it smells like tea. The reason I went with Grape Ape I'm growing this. was the clones reeked. I'm like, man, I've never had clones that fucking like smell like finished pot as much as these grape ape ever. So I'm like, I'm gonna give it a shot. And if it continues to be as fucking skunky and sweet, and good smelling as the clones are, I'm hoping for good things. Christina, Peace Water helps you keep your water pipes clean. Okay, so I have seen that stuff. I just didn't know the name. I don't know. I would look into what it is a little bit, but you know, seems cool. I have seen that because I watched, and I've seen a couple different brands where they'll like show a guy clearing out like 100 bowls in a row or whatever, and then they just like rinse out that one bong, which is fine. It's just I don't know how much I like the idea of adding the possibility of more inhalation of those said chemicals. If they're doing that, I mean, I don't know what they're doing inside, but I'm sure that they're probably pretty benign and pretty natural. I would hope so, especially with a name like Peace Water, that they're trying to be a little hippie-ish or whatever and be like natural and organic. White Willow, Peace Water is water that lasts 80 hoots without having to clean your piece, and you're just pulling stem. Yeah, I think I've seen them just rinse it. Yeah, like all you gotta do is rinse it. I saw today, I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, true. Yeah, so I've seen it. I have seen that a while ago, and I didn't. It could have been Peace Water. It could have been an alternative brand that one or the other took from one or the other. But this is not a Chong we're gonna be smoking out of, which I have right now. But I gotta change the water because I haven't changed the water since last week. And speaking of things that you shouldn't be inhaling without knowing what it is, I don't think sitting water for a week is great. Well, if where? I don't know if you can see that. See that right here? How it's scratched off. It looks like it's something there. Uh, the reason that that's happening is you can literally scratch this off. It's fumed. So the reason you're getting these colors on the bottom that kind of look like bluish, it's like a bluish, but it has greens and it's almost like a pale blue, is it was fumed. Fuming is where you take a piece of metal, gold or silver, and in between the flame and the glass piece, you put the piece of metal, and it'll burn colors on to your piece. It used to be quite popular. My friend has done it to the point where it looks like a piece of solid gold, and it kind of is. You're holding a very large amount of gold material in a way. Problem is because it's put onto glass, you can literally scratch it off. And it looks like there's been a little damage right there. And that could be just setting it down and hitting something. It could be where I'm putting it in there and bumping it next to another piece. Um, but that's something to keep in mind. Also, it looks like when I was cleaning it, we got a bunch of fucking dirty, nasty, like oily water on it. So, anyway, yeah, quick change water break. Speaking of water break, water for myself is important as well. Should make tea too, but I'm finally doing it. It's already 10 o'clock. It was a late night, a late start, but I was really tired. I'm feeling much better. So let's get this changed, do some dabs, hang out for a minute. I'm doing much better this week than I was last week. I'll tell you that. So I hope all of you are too. I hope you do better next week than you are to this one. So sipping on some nice cold OJ and pulp, says Michael J. What you call it? I'm not a pulp fan, to be 100% honest. I like my fiction pulp, but that's about it. White Willow, you have an amazing cleaning pieces vid, though. I thought so. I thought it was okay. It works. Hell yeah, brother. Likewise. Whatever it is, likewise. Fast. I'm going to play some games, so I'll see you next week. Have a good rest of your night and stream. You do that. You have a good night too. I mean, and play games. Do your thing. Thanks for joining. Always, everybody. I appreciate the company and the good vibes, which I send right back. So let's get some dabs going. Oh, now I'm finally fucking starting to wake up too. Oh. uh, White Willow, sipping on gin and juice. I'm walking like I walk in. I'm not kidding. Hey, uh, I honestly really did not like gin when I was drinking until I was introduced to the marvel that is a martini, a dirty martini with extra olives. And then I found out that gin can be a fucking weird, cruel mistress. I do like my fucking martinis dirtier than, I don't know, Courtney Love heroin needle or something. I like them. I like them dirty. I walk into the club. I'm not kidding. Sipping on gin and that juice. See, when I hear sipping on gin and juice, I still hear the old laid back, or I hear the Richard Cheese version of that. Rolling down the street, smoking and go, sipping on gin and juice. That one, laid back, with my mind on my money and my money on my mind. And he does the lounge songs. Yeah, Richard Cheese is great. Gin equals panty dropper, my G. Uh, I don't associate any liquor with that personally, but gets my draws dropped. I'm just, like I said, and only in a martini. I don't do vodka, so gin is the go-to. And then I mostly just drink them because I love olives. Now that I'm not really drinking, I just stick to the olives. I do too. I have like a fucking just a can of olives all the time. I'm like, yeah, this will do. I do just love olives. All right, get this, got that. No, why don't you just hang out or go back down? Because we're taking dabs, Ziggy, and you got to stay safe. This cat is gonna set himself on fire one day. White Willow, Wiz Khalifa, Gin and Drugs was the song I referenced. Okay, which I had a feeling. I'm like, okay, I'm missing this just a little. I don't know Wiz Khalifa that much, so I don't know how I feel about him, good or bad. No opinion. I just don't know. Never gave him a chance. Now they have Spotify, and I don't have to actually like do anything but type his name. I'm not against listening to him. I don't even think I've ever heard a track with him on it. To be 100% honest. Uh, Sometimes the big mainstream weed people don't represent my, like how I smoke, but I don't know. I've never given him a chance, so. Now he's been out forever. I remember when he was like a new rapper. So, Wiz Khalifa, Gin and Drugs. I'll have to give it a shot. And I'm always listening to new things. There was a point in my life where I was not listening to anything new or watching anything new or viewing anything new. I was very set in my ways, and that's that. But now I've kind of gotten to the point where I'm willing to listen to anything, accept anybody, and give everybody a chance. Sorry, Ziggy. Oh! Yeah, I can't blow any more smoke rings because I got the fan just tearing up the ship. Oh well. All right. So again, because I'm lazy and I don't want to get up, we're gonna smoke some more. What we got? Oh, looks like we're down to the member berry. Got some member berries here. You remember? There we go. Put a chunk right there. But thank you again for joining me. I was going to make this a very short night because I was so tired and I have shit to do, which I'm not going to do tonight. I'm just going to call it a day. But my bowl got so much resin, it's clogged up. My bad, says Lonak. Yeah, you got to get ready here soon, too. I hate that feeling. There's nothing like a clean pipe and a clean bong. It really does make a world difference. I just cleaned my fucking grinder for the first time ever. My girlfriend was like, "Fuck it," she's like, "We need to buy a new grinder. This grinder's fucked. I mean, it's stuck. It's fucked." And I'm like, "Yeah, we don't need to buy a new one. I just need to actually clean it. I haven't really cleaned it in years. I kind of clean it, but." I'm like, and then I cleaned it like it was brand fucking new, and it was pretty good. But we grind up so much pot that didn't last very long. So, cheers, everybody. There we go. Woo! There we go. Nothing like the old Chong Bong. Fuck, I forgot who asked me if I got any glass pieces recently. But I still have not bought a piece in like over a year. I'm so broke. If so, it was like I bought an rig, little dab pens. It's the only thing I bought in the last few years. I just haven't had luck. Lonak, don't buy Sharpstone grinders. I brand a brand new one, and it's cracked in the inside. I want to say I've owned a Sharpstone. Is that the one with the little grinder wheel? I liked it at first, and the handle broke, and then I'm like, well, I can still kind of like spin it around. And that broke, and then I'm like, yeah, well, this thing's fucking useless. Yeah, no. White Willow, yeah, mine gums up, and I only bought it last year. If you're talking Sharpstone, the one I have is called an Easy Grinder, and for what they are, they're pretty expensive. They're just kind of a normal looking one. There's subtle things that have made this one last me 15 years, and I really like it. The metal they use doesn't shave away like some of them do. The holes in it are not too big, so it makes it pretty finely chopped. They're not too small, so it's not too finely chopped up. So I like that. And then the biggest thing is, I'll go grab it. So yeah, this thing was so gunked up that you could take both hands and you couldn't crack it. Now it's just super fucking easy. But anyway, so the biggest thing with this Easy Grinder that actually makes it really nice is the size of the micron filter in there is perfect for actually getting good quality keef. If you're going to do it, might as well do it right. The one that goes to this one, this is a cheap silicone grinder. I don't even use the bottom for two reasons. One, it doesn't make a very tight seal. So it kind of always feels like it's going to fall apart. And two is, if you look at the size of these two, look at the difference. Put this right here for 2 seconds. I don't know if you can see it, but you can like almost see it. So that one is actually quite big, and this one is quite small. So there's just much bigger holes on this one. So when you pop it open, it's green, Keith, because you're getting a lot of plant material too. You have to have them sized right. Someone has to actually care. These people don't smoke weed. They don't care about what you're doing. That's why a lot of people who get grinders, they're like, you can't make hash from that. In fact, in my how to make hash video, the reason it took me fucking like 45 minutes of constant pressure was two things. One, I was on this table, like sitting down to be in the shot for the most part. Eventually I changed and stood up, but also the table I was working on, or however I was doing it, I couldn't put my leverage into it. I couldn't put all my weight like how I needed and wanted to. But you shouldn't even need to do it like that, because if there's not so much plant material, it just melts, and it's so nice and easy. I just made a recent how to make hash video using a silk screen, which has super fine mesh, holes in it. It's perforated so tiny that if you do it right without like I said, I did a whole video on it. The hash I made, it took no pressure and took like 30 seconds. So the type of grinder you get, there's just a few things I look for. Also, I don't like the cranks, because when the handle breaks, you're fucked. I like, there's another thing I like. Actually, the one good thing about this one is how this is loaded. So you'll notice that these both have the magnets on this. So if you pack on top of this magnet, you're cramming it into another magnet. So it'll get gunked up right there and squish, and it won't work right. So the best way to do it is to load this side, and also the ring goes around. So you don't want to load up this side, because you're going to crunch up your butt. So I kind of like having the magnet on the lower side. It just works better, because you can just kind of pack around the magnet and it grinds up fine. This one, if you just pack in there, it's kind of fucked up. So I usually put my finger right there and load around it. Little simple shit like that. So I might reverse that on this one, and then it'd be pretty ideal. Those are little things, but then also the size of the holes. This one has these big, long holes, and this one just has dots. So this one gets a bigger product that falls down, and this one's a little finer shred. This one is way better for joints. This one's way better for bowls, in my opinion, because you don't want it super fine for bowls. I don't think. It's nice to have a little bit of something else there. So that's a preference thing more. But I don't know. If I were to design and make my own grinder, it'd be very close to this with just a reversed lid. So the magnets, the center magnet would be, or the protruding center magnet would be on the bottom of this exact design. So there's a little stupid shit like that, but I don't know. White Willow, or Lonoff. No, it was a regular grinder. The magnets suck. That one, the Sharpstone or whatever. Yeah. Yeah. White Willow. I grind upside down with the bud on top first, and then turn it and grind again down. So it's hard on the grinder, but it grinds really nice. So you kind of grind it like upside down for a while and really grind it, and then kind of work its way down. I mean, that's like I said, if you have big holes in there, you can do that. So it's almost you have a little bit more options with these big ones because you can just keep it upside down and grind it as long as you want, and then turn it upside down. This one, the only way to get through those holes is to grind the shit out of it. So White Willow, yay. So really, now you say it like that, this one can be more versatile. But I hate this rubber stuff. It'll come popping off of the metal grinder. See, like that. You can just kind of pop it off, and it comes apart, which is good for cleaning. But I'm like, I just don't like it. Silicone ones suck. Take that. Just a little jar fell over, but yeah. So grinders. I should make a little video talking about what I like and don't like about grinders. So yeah, I got this one looking brand new, which is nice. It's nice having clean stuff, clean bong, clean grinder. That's what started the conversation. So that's what I'm going back to, and to wrap it all up, like I actually know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, my cash. There, so I'm just knocking shit around. All right, let's warm this back up, finish this dab off, light that joint up, load a bowl, roll the dabs, and then we'll call it a night. Sound good? If you didn't catch all that, that's okay. All right. But yeah, good things. Definitely some things I want to bring to the show. But the problem is right now, if anything, I'm at risk of not having time to even do this show as much as I would like. And that sucks. So I don't know what to do there. I have so many things on my list of things to do. And I hate to jeopardize the show because I am very consistent at it for the most part. Lonock ate like $40 of candy. No shit. I can do that pretty easy, especially if we're talking expensive chocolates. Bam. White Willow, you ever tried distillate? Yes, I like distillate. I do. I think it's better than it's your best form of oil because it's kind of liquidy oil. Honey reminds me a lot of honey because it's just liquidy enough. It's very liquidy when it's even slightly warmed up, and its viscousness is that of honey. Otherwise, and the process I like. It's a distillation process like alcohol, but using oils and THC. And I've had good products. I like it more than what I've been dabbing on lately. I think it's one of the cleaner variants because you're not actually using a solvent. So I believe distillant is solventless from what I've seen, unless they're using something as a catalyst to make it easier to be go through that process. So it's a little interesting. I don't know. I would like to look into the process a little bit more. I haven't seen it recently, and I saw it briefly when I did. But I like the products of distillate I've gotten. It has a flavor, and sometimes you'll get cartridges of it, like I used to, and or I'll smoke somebody's, and I can tell right away that it is distillate. I'm like, okay, I can just taste it, So it has a taste that is accompanied with it for whatever reason, uh, which is good. And I've had great distillate, but I can see why anyone might not like it. And if you don't like the taste initially, it seems to follow no matter who makes the shit, or you know what I mean. That's one thing I've noticed about it, but I like it. I like it overall. White Willow. Oh, also, just take your time, man. We all understand. Whoa, with smoking? No, I have very little time. Oh, you mean taking my time on like doing the show and stuff? So I just have a lot of shit in my life going on right now. Oops, I'm kicking my light. I I have been going to physical therapy sometimes 2 times a week, sometimes Sometimes at one point in time, I was going to work because I always kept going to work. I would go to physical therapy at least twice a week, acupuncture once a week. I was seeing my doctor like every other week, so pretty much once a week, working 6 days a week sometimes. And I'm like, and then I'd come and I'd do this show. So very packed. But at the same time, I was doing that to myself for a long time because I was so fucked up. I was very upset when I started this show. And yeah, so I was doing all that on top of full work and dealing with oh yeah, and I was seeing my grandma. But I kind of stopped during the physical therapy because that was the year this all happened during COVID. So that was one thing. Before that, I was seeing my grandma almost twice a week, every week at least, and spending all day with her. And so there's that. So it's just time, and I'm as broke right now as I've ever been since I've been an adult. I've always managed to keep a few $100s in my bank account unless there's an emergency and I can rebuild it up. But I've been in the red for a minute, and I'm like, oh, that's a new one for me. So again, I'm doing way better this week than last week because it's a new. I just got paid, got my shit back together, and I have some good news uh, for my future endeavors of what I'm doing outside of the show and outside of work. I have other stuff going on. I'm very happy about. I've been in contact with, like I said, some people about other things I've been wanting to do, which have been going really well that I can't really talk about, but they're good. I have products being sent to me for this show that I am not going out to them. They're watching the show and coming to me. That's really good. My job, this is inconvenient timing, but it's good, is I'm getting all the hours I'm finally fucking been requesting for forever so I can pay these bills and shit. So I finally, that's good. But then I'm working like a fucking 10-hour work day every day, 5 days a week. So I'm like, well, there's fucking like 50 hours a week. I mean, I'm so tired, even though I don't have a super stressful physical job. I'm like, fuck, man, I'm not working, fucking that. I'm not doing my show. So everything, all my creative processes are suffering due to the fact that I gotta fucking eat, and feed fucking 5 cats and a dog, and it's just which I don't mind. I love it, and it's just like I'm like I can never take a break, and that sucks. The one vacation I got in the last while was not my vacation, so I had no say in it. It was not my. So it was is I Portland was great, but it was on fire too, and it was all smoky. So I'm like, fuck, man, everywhere's on fire. Aaron, hey broski, I'm back vaping on some bubba. I can't talk. Some Bubba Kush, which I love that stuff, out of my Dynavate. So I've been looking at which version of a little e-rig I want to get for my front room, and they're ranging in price anywhere from $70 for a cheap knockoff kind of Puffco to the Puffco, or to the Lucas is the next one up that I'm looking at, and then the Puffco Plus or whatever they're on, and then the Carta, and then I want this the Dr. Dabber Switch, I think it is. That thing's fucking G'd up and that's like 350. And then they got the G Pen Rogue. That thing's fucking dope. And then they have this sick fucking E-Nail Mini fucking G Pen thing, which that's the company that fucking Snoop Dogg owns. And I'm like, I've been looking into what I want to get because I've had hash is just what I've had more, and it's a little cheaper. And when I'm in between my grows, I don't like buying so much pot because it's expensive, and I didn't grow it, and I never like it as much as my pot. And I'm always like, fuck, I'm not. So I dab more when in between my own grows, and I would like to not have a torch out in the front. My girlfriend doesn't like using the torch. I don't blame her. I've had 2 girlfriends who are like, I'll dab with you, but I don't do that. I'm not doing that. It's too much of a process. It's way too much. And even those e-nails still have a bit of a process. So, Aaron's, the Switch is a beast. Thank you. Okay, the doctor. Okay, cool. See, I am interested. Anybody has input on these? These are questions, even though there's only 5 of us right now. But thank you, Aaron. Okay, the Dr. Dab or Boost Evo, if you're thinking of a 300 to 400 range. See, that's kind of expensive. So, is the Boost Evo step up or step down from the Switch? The Switch is what they had at the place I was looking at, and it's sick looking. And I'm like, see, I want that for my front room, for my front table. I saw one for it was $350 with the attachment and everything I wanted, and tax and everything. It was $350. Pretty solid, I would guess. Maybe it's a little more, and but it was dope, dude. And it's like fucking like as big as this from the table, so it's big, and it's got this little bubbler attachment. And I'm like, I would like to smoke out of all of them though. I wish I had someone who helped. So, but I'm thinking about getting the SOC. The Evo is even sicker. Yeah, because if it's 400, uh, wait, Boost Evo is the baby. Okay, and the Switch is the beast. The fucking that beast is fucking. I really want to get that fucking Switch. If I was loaded, if I was loaded, or if I had any type of connection or something like that, I would have one of each of them, all of them, and I would do a test video. Be like, this is what you need to get. So right now I'm looking at the Luca because it's the cheapest, or the sock. Again, the SOC sock, and it's like a knockoff of all of these that I can get for like $70. So, and then the Luca is like $180, so just under two. Aaron, but from what I've seen, it's a little underperforming compared to the Switch. But the Switch is a monster e-rig. It's huge. Yeah, it's like having a full size ball in that thing. But it looks sick with a silicone carbide cup. It's comparable to quartz in flavor and vapor in production at low temps. You're talking the Switch? Because, yeah, I really like having a quartz insert. The one I was looking at, even the sock, I like that one, but then you have to get the quartz nails for it. It comes ceramic. It looks a lot like a knockoff Puffco Peak is what they definitely are knocking off. And I'm like, I like that, but I'd like the quartz. And then the quartz is like $50 for. And so I'm like, okay, so now you're looking at $120 ish range. The Luca starts at 180, and then you have to buy fucking the hookups, which is at least $30 for the quartz inserts replacements. And I'm like, well, those are cool, but then you're looking at like 220. So right now the sock is in the lead at 120 because even if it's fucked up, what's the worst I have? So anything SIC, anything sick billows though. I have a sick terp pearl and I can dab around 470. So I don't know the sick stuff. I do. So this one I'm looking at, sock. Is it the same thing? Aaron, as much as e-rigs are easy to use, I feel like personally quartz rules. So there's so many trade-offs, but at the end of the day, if you're willing to do the work, the true flavor and the hard hit and the cleaner feeling I get is from quartz and a torch and a good bomb. That's the best dabbing I've had. That being said, fucking those e-rigs have a lot of benefits, and for people who don't dab and shit like that, like there's some good stuff around it too. Aaron, have you tried an e-nail, like a mini nail, like the coil that wraps around the banger? I've smoked out of them plenty. I don't own them. And I have ups and downs about those. I think it might quicken up me taking dabs on this show, but then again, maybe not. Because this is a 10 mil, that's a 14, that's a 14 female, like all on this one table. I have an 18 male and 18 females because that's fucked up. You have an 18 millimeter female on your dab rig. That's some old school shit. They don't do those much. So it is what it is. Oh. So what I'm using is called a C pen nail, all one word, C pen nail, C pen nail. And there's the hen nail that I've used one of those too. And they're good. I actually really like the C pen nail. You can get on DHgate for about 40 to 50 bucks with the bubbler attachment. And that's my daily driver, except for the battery life is shit. But that's what I smoke at probably the most, just because it's the easiest and I can get away with it the most. It's portable and yada yada. I uh, I love that thing, but it's also they're temperamental and not perfect by any means. So I would really like a nice portable mini e-rig. That's one reason I'm glad I didn't get the Puffco Peak or the Carta, is because they keep coming out with new generations. Like we're on generation 4, you know, plus the Evo, the plus one, you know, whatever their names are. I don't even know. But I'm kind of glad I didn't get the first generation, because like all the improvements are coming out now. So I would have wanted to trade them all right away anyway. You can get you like the first generation Pupcos or the first generation Cartas for a lot cheaper now, because people want the new ones, because they probably have worked on a lot. These are still evolving a lot right now. And most of the people making them don't even like actually smoke out of them. So fucking they need to be told what to do and how to make them. So as soon as that gets better, that's why I'm just now getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm willing to start venturing into that world a little bit more. As for e-rigs that plug in and shit, they're cool, especially at like a party or something. That's where I've smoked out of them the most. Low knock. It's crazy, but I'm a bud smoker. Dabs, I'll smoke dabs once in a while. Uh, I I would probably dab much less if it wasn't for the fact that they don't smell like pot. They don't reek. I can fucking take a massive dab, blow it into my shirt, and like kind of just like take a walk to the car and walk back and fucking like ask my friend who smokes weed, like, dude, do I smell like weed? Like, honestly, tell me if I have to go and meet somebody or something, do something. They're like, no, no, you smell like fruity or something. Like if it like whatever the dab was, sometimes they'll leave a little, but they're like, or maybe they'll know because they dab, but you know, it's like, no, it's not like taking a hit of pot, smoking a joint, dude. Sometimes, you know, I'll take a hit and smell my like your hand is like, my hand smells like reeks of pot if you don't just wash it immediately. I'm like, so I don't know. Jazzy, I love vaping the herb, the terps. I haven't done that in a long time, and I have a fucking herb vape. Where did I put it? Oh, my neck is kind of fucking stiff. I think it's around. Oh, it's way up there. You can't even see it. See this knob? There's a little tiny button. It's black. You can see a little white button. Yeah, that's one that my friend made me. My friend made me a fucking vaporizer. He was gonna start a company, and I got one of his test ones. I think he gave it to me. Uh, yeah, great guy. Um, and I just haven't used it in a while, but I do like them. It's been a while. White Willow, try dabbing now. Try dabbing now. Me and my girl can't even really get a high off flower. It kind of sucks. And kind of crave dabs. Yeah, uh, I've definitely had that feeling too, where it sucks. But then I distinctly remember getting some fire bud and being like, okay, that's what I was missing too. Like, and I've had some crappy pot or crappy hash, because I usually buy discount whatever's cheap, and I buy a lot of it to make sure I get cheap prices. So I get a discount on the uh, how much I buy on the quantity. So yeah, if you buy 40 grams at this one place, it gets down to like 490 or like just under 500 bucks. So I'm like, well, that's, you know, like $10 a fucking gram. That's pretty good prices. And the place I'm actually going to now has that. And it's pretty decent. But I've had some stuff that didn't turn out decent. You got all this shitty hash. And I'm like, okay, I just would kill for some good bud. Every time I grow pot, every time. Even the last green crack I grew, which was the worst pot I've ever grown, I'm still like, okay, this is still, the top nugs are still better than what I'm buying usually, and better than fucking what I'm smoking with everybody. And I'm like, okay, and I get really stoned on it, and I'm like, yeah, I'll take really good nugs over bad hash. But I know what you're saying too. Dabs are oh shit. Uh, White Willow had like weird cranky symptoms after not having any. Dabs are good, but we've ruined our tolerance of flour or anything. Yeah, and like I said, I've gone through that exact feeling, but I don't know. What I've noticed is there is a difference in the high. Like the high itself is different. Like you can get straight fucking like blasted with the fucking dab rig, dude. And once you get used to that feeling, and like yeah, I feel like taking a dab, especially a fat one, and especially unfortunately if you do them a little hot, like you're fucking. It's like smoking a joint in one hit, easy. So I don't know. Aaron, every time I saw any e-rig, I felt like vapor production was lacking. Like these expensive rigs could barely make anything. Looked like a waste of terps and cash spent on the broken atomizers. Dabbing is great, but when I vape herb, I get that CBD and CBG that most wax isn't high in. Yeah, see, and like I said, there's a difference in the high itself and the feel of it. That being said, I so there's these two little mini rigs that I use. I've meant to do this video for literally years, um, just showing the different portable rigs that I actually use because I never use those on here very rarely. I was using one out there when I was doing ganja game nights because it was easy to not use a torch in my front room because I usually try to keep the dabbing stuff out here, or in here. And anyway, my little mini rig fucking clouds up. And then my bigger sized one, which is more expensive, the G9 hen nail, I'm like, sometimes it just doesn't, I don't love that one. And when it broke it, I didn't replace it because I'm like, yeah, I don't like that. That's when I started being like, okay, and that one was expensive. So I'm like, I'm going to replace it with an actual nice, like a Puffco Peak or one of those ones. So I've been kind of on the market. Lona, can you make edibles off of vaped bud? I've heard that you can. I've even heard that you don't have to do anything to it because it's been decarbonated or whatever. So you can like, and it's again a CBD, CBN or whatever, one of those weird ones, CBGs or no, I think it turns into a CBDA, THCA is once it's been cooked like that, but it's still something, and you can put it right into things without having to cook it because it's already been cooked. But, I mean, I'm sure it's lacking in comparison, but I have a little plastic jar, like, one of those decent sized ones that like an ounce comes in at the dispensaries, uh, filled with a vaped pot. And it's pretty highly vaped. I vape the shit out. I vape it where it's just, it's pretty brown when I'm done it. It's not black, obviously, but it does. I try to get quite a bit out of my vaping. So, Jazzy, it'll probably taste weird, but you could try it in the crock pot with oil and it might taste better. We could talk about the live rosins. Oh, wait, hold on. It'll probably taste better. You talked about the edibles and the vape bud. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And then, Jazzy, can we talk about live rosin and resin? That stuff has me really borderline LSD vibes. So, ABV is on like 3 to 5% THC, depending on how dark you vape it. Oh, average, I'm guessing, is like 3 to 5% THC, depending on how dark you vape it. And he's talking about percentage of what's left in the vaped buds. And mine shit's dark. I used to vape the fuck out of it, so mine's probably like 2. So, Jazzy, about the live rosin and resin, I think one big thing that everyone should just be aware of is when the word live is being thrown around, it just means that it's not cured pot. You just cut those plants down, chopped them up, and instead of hanging them and drying them or doing whatever drying process you have, you threw them into the freezer. You froze them right away. Or you didn't even freeze them and you did whatever extraction process you do. So fresh frozen is live. Or, sometimes they just word it differently. That being said, I've heard that there's way different, things happen when you cure THC. Usually you get a much better smoke, and it cures and it smokes properly, giving it that age and drying process. The fact that you're just throwing it into hash, making it into something, squishing it, or fucking extracting it, there's something to be said about taking it right away and putting it in there. It still has a lot of, I think it always has a stronger and more tasty terp profile. It gets that, there's two different smells between a bud that's on the plant and you smell it. It has amazing smell. And then you take that bud, cut it, dry it, cure it, and then crack open the jar to smoke it. It can still smell amazing. It doesn't smell exactly like that plant did. So you're getting more of what the plant smells like, in my opinion, if that makes sense, as opposed to what the bud smells like. And also, I've heard that, as the THC matures, obviously, again, it goes through the decarbylation process, I believe it is, and changes molecular. And then it changes its whole properties and, slightly. And I've heard that smoking uncured pot, so when it's more towards the fresh side, is more heady. That's why it's like an LSD, especially if you already have a sativa kind of head high rush anyway. Add that onto that fresh terp profile that hasn't cured. From everything I've heard, that's where that's kind of coming in. All right. Aaron, all right, it's getting late for me. Y'all have a good night. I'll take a fat dab for you. That's what I'm going to do, too, because it's getting late for me, too. Good call. It's almost 11. I got to go. So we're going to spin this wheel of dabs. I'm going to finish this bowl and then reload it. Oh, I'm going to get the cat off me for just a moment, because I still have kind of stuff to do. I was going to do a lot of stuff tonight. And the purple shark, which is right there. And I don't even have to change the water, because I've actually been smoking out of that. So nice. Perfect. So, as life always tends to throw me sometimes, a good segue into, and you have a good night if I don't catch you, Aaron. So take a fat dab for us. Let us all know that you're choking and coughing your way to bed. You guys sleep very nice. But yes, Jazzy, I'll get my Delta 8 ready. Let's go to bed. Yeah, no shit. That's about where that's the plan. I should have already been on that. Whatever. We'll just load up some of this Afghani. We'll just smoke some of the last of this member berry, because I'm being nice and lazy. Rather than grabbing any other flavors or doing anything else, we're just doing what's on my lap. Smoking out of that. Jazzy, Aaron, let's do this. Let's get some. On that there. I need a new torch. I need a bunch of new shit. But we do what we can. And my Delta 10. There you go. So, again, like I was saying, a good segue into this is the purple shark. I've been meaning to do a bunch of purple shark stuff, but again, I have no fucking time. And granted, I still have absolutely no time. But rather than Purple Shark, which if you don't know is on Spotify, please give a listen. I always appreciate it. It's very cult and underground. It's cult as fuck. And Symbiote, my other project. Uh, so that, but those right now are kind of on the back burner a little bit more than I like them because I'm so fucking pressed for time. I was also going to do a solo project of my own just called Venom 420 with different type of probably electronic hip hop music type thing. And that's on the back burner. But what I can say is, even though those 3 projects I had, which were all solo things that I've been meaning to do, even though those are now on the back burner, so to speak, again, I do have a musical endeavor coming up that I am happy to share with you guys soon, but not at the moment. So maybe in the next upcoming weeks, there should be some cool news there that I'm very stoked about. So, like I said earlier, it's more about pretending everything's fine, living your life as though it is, and just hoping for the best. And when those things do happen, take advantage when you can. So, that's been my goal recently, and trying to just wait it out, not make things worse. I think a lot of people, it gets all the way to suicide where people literally just kill themselves. And it's like, man, we just would have waited a little bit longer, maybe shit would have fucking turned around. And how many people have we lost to impatience? Really? I mean, yeah, everything sucks, but give it a minute and put a fucking honest, good attitude at it, and you'd be surprised what you can come up with. So, hopefully, if you're ever in a down moment, that is something that you can fall back on because we all need to sometimes. So, cheers. Some member berry. Ooh, that's a token. Oh, man, I always ended on a big note. Every time when I'm going like out there, I'm like, oh, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. If you're gonna do a big one, might as well make it the last one of the night. Holy Jesus Christ! But then I'm worthless after this show. Not even because I'm so high, although that's a big part of it. I'm just like, can't breathe. Water, water. Let's just watch something funny. Can we just watch something funny? So I can just kind of laugh this off, not think about the fact that I'm about to die. Let's watch something funny and eat some junk food and just pretend that the world is amazing because right now I can, if I get just high enough and I get those things going, I can pretend everything's just amazing in the world. That's just fine. Let's do that. Let's just pretend that. That sounds great. Oh man. Okay. Oh, maybe one more out of this guy and out of me. And then a bong rip and we're going to bed because we're officially at the 11 o'clock mode here. I got to get up early for another long day of work. But I'm super stoked on some shit for once. So that's good to not hear me bitching. So, like I said, hopefully we can all hang in there. Cheer coughs. No shit, Jazzy. Lonak, Aaron, everybody. Holy hot hell. Oh. All right. Ah, all right. We're done with you for a minute. The shark has bitten. Like I said, right now, Purple Shark is a bit on the back burner. So I just don't have enough time to work on my music like I want to. If I had my way, all I would do is sit here and play music. That's what I like to do. jazzy. Nice. I got back into standard tuning. And it's like I forgot how sick it can be with power chords. I'm always step down or drop tuned. One thing I like about standard tuning that I forgot or never really experimented with until I've always kind of liked doing those reverse chords. Of course, I can't do anything now, but I like playing those inverted power chords. Sometimes that can sound really sick. I just can't do that with those. Dude, me too. I love the band Gojira, and they did a lot of that. Yeah, exactly. And I can't do a lot of that with well, I probably can, but I just don't do a lot of that with drop tuning. My Explorer over here and my PV over here are dedicated to C standard, so they're always in that tuning. Drop D I'm always willing to do because it's such a small tuning adjustment. But for the most part, I play standard, drop, and C standard. And whenever I'm talking or thinking about drop tunings, I still pretend this is how all the videos I've ever watched is how they explained it. I've never had a lesson. I've never had a teacher. I've never had anyone help me. But all the videos I've ever watched that did help me in any sense, and this wasn't even instructional videos. This is just people talking about how they did it. They're like, I still think of everything as standard, when we're talking about it, like them talking through the band. And when I've had people talking in the band, they're like just saying, if you're playing a certain chord or a certain place, either using, they usually just, well, that's not always true, but if you're in C standard, you're still like playing your E chord, or whatever, your E5 or whatever. So I don't know. Again, I have no guitar training at all, and I have not a lot of guitar experience. I have a lot of bass experience. Anyway, so a lot of the time, right after I get off the show, anyway, this is what I do. Just stoned, fucked up. But now I still have the bong, so that helps. Now I am very. I don't even really like playing the guitar on this show very much. You'll notice it's there, and I'll pick it up. I usually set it down because I'm not super keen on my guitar playing abilities. Again, on a bass, I feel confident, and I know how to learn. I feel like this. I got to the point when I was playing the bass quite often. I'm like, if I have enough time and probably tabs and or somebody instructing me in some way, I know I can play a lot of crazy shit. Learning it's hard, but physically I can put it under my fingers. You know what I mean? Like I know I have the capability. I can do a lot of nuts stuff sometimes if I want to sit there and just learn. Usually I just do what I always noodle. I'm just a noodler because I play for fun. But yeah, bass is where I have more abilities. Do you slap at a bass, man? So slapping is not my strong suit, to be 100% honest. I just enjoy playing around. I don't know, but there I've been trying to get more percussionist than percussion. I play it more like a percussion instrument, like it should be, with more ghost notes and pops and slaps and stuff. I don't know. I now haven't been playing the bass very much. I would love. That's what hurts the most. It's that and the cats and the dog and my girlfriend and everything like that. It's like leaving them is very hard every day. I'm like, God, I just wish I could make music for a living or work from home for a living, do this show for a living. And so the way I figured it is the way I follow this dude, Spectre Media Group, Mr. Fricker. I'm sure you probably might have heard of him if you're into music and you're, yeah, if you've ever watched anything with recording stuff on YouTube. Um, he's a really cool guy. I appreciate all the stuff he's taught me personally. So over the years, little tricks and shit. And anyway, the way he put it is he had a full time job. He can also monetize because he's talking about sound. The worst he does is he cusses a lot. Um, but he's talked about sound engineering and shit. I smoke pot on my show, so I can't monetize in the same way. So it's going to be even harder for me to reach these figures I'm about to explain. But once he hit 250,000 subscribers, that was always his goal, where he's like, I'll be making enough off my stuff to do the show full time. You know, he puts out like 3 shows a week and shit, private shows, fucking all lessons, does tons of shit. So he's super busy. It's his job. But it would take so much more for that for me. It's unreal because again, I can't monetize like him. I can't do that, so I'd have to do merch. So I would need like 500,000 subscribers to be full time at this, which is yeah, I have 5,000 subscribers, so that would mean I'd need 500 times as much as I have. Or wait, wait, I have 5,000 100 times. Wait, why am I not doing my math right? It's a lot. Sorry, just took a gigantic dab, and I swear the numbers are just swirling around. 5,000. You're talking 10 times. Excuse me, right? Yeah, or something. How many zeros do I need to add on there? 100 times. I thought it was right. Right. 500 to get to 500,000. Anyway, point is, yeah, Venom. I love how you're like, good night, folks, and then 20 minutes later, we're gonna take one more dab and go to bed. 30 minutes later, yeah, it'll happen like that. So you have a good night. Love you, man. Love all you guys. I'm drinking my raspberry. Oh, I'm drinking my raspberry Four Loko. Is that a brewski? That sounds. I haven't done the fruity brews much. Some weird ones out there. I was gonna finish my train of thought though. Where was I? But you made me laugh, White Willow. Uh, anyway, 500,000. But you know what that tells me? I think it's 100 times where I was at. I just have to put 100 times more effort into this show, and I could do that. That's a rough thing to do because I can't fit in 100 more episodes per week. But I could put in more effort into what I'm doing and do interviews and, you know, actually reach out there, put 100% more effort in. Uh, White Willow, we can't get those in Canada. Jelly. What are they? Are they raspberry? Are they like brews? Like I said, special brew. Now I'm interested. Although I don't need any encouragement to be drinking nice beers, but it sounds like it. All right, 12% alcohol, so that's a bad bitch there too. Anything into the double digits. I'm used to drinking fucking Coronas and Models and fucking thin light beers. So, like anytime I drink those, like Night Ranger IPAs and shit, I was like, fuck, man, that's like those are only like 9 something, and I'm still like those. I think those are only 9. I'm like, those are nice hefty beer. Uh, it's kind of nice. The idea of only drinking like one beer and stout. Sometimes they taste damn good, and I'm like, and you get fucked up. A couple of those, I'm like, yeah, those are nice. Fucking get you going. Raspberry 4 Loco. Like I said, I've seen a lot of those when I was buying. So I just got into buying like designer beers or whatever those are. Right when I kind of stopped drinking, to be honest. So yeah, I stopped. I just haven't had drink in a long time. So, but I do like the sound of some of those. And like I said, I kind of like the idea of having one and having it stout enough that I'm like, oh yeah, I feel that. I did like that. Drinking is a weird thing because I really don't know. Jazzy, I miss beer. Dos Equis, no, was amazing. I never had one, but I saw those. I only drink Jaeger or Moscow Mules now. Drinking is like one of those weird things where I don't advise it because some people can't do it properly. And I mean, everyone has an addictive thing, and it's not addiction. Everyone has a problem that, can be easily like avoided. Everyone's in pain, somehow, some way, emotionally or physically. And alcohol is an effective means of changing how you feel about those things immediately. And sometimes that's great. You feel like you're not in pain anymore over those things, but you're not actually healing in the process. And it's a weird thing. My biggest rule for alcohol has always been drink for pleasure, not for fucking regret and pain and misery. It's not a pain management. It can emphasize what you already have going on. If you're in a great mood in life, it can emphasize that and make things pretty entertaining. If you're in a negative spot in your life, it can make everything kind of shit, no matter how much. That's the reason that people break down crying at the end of the night is because they'll bring that shit out of you. So, yeah, Lonak, 2 days of time off, about to feel good. Like I said, the biggest reason I haven't is because some people can't enjoy it the same. You know what I mean? And they take it really extreme, and sometimes it's hard. It's not until you've seen alcoholism in your life. It wasn't until I saw alcoholism in my life that I realized it was even a problem. I had massive drug problems in my life with people around me, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. That's a scary thing. But I never saw alcoholism. I used to drink all the time, and it wasn't until I saw someone with a massive problem. You're like, you got to watch out. But have fun. I'm not saying that in a bad way. Jazzy, I treat drinking as a treat. Once a month, maybe 3 times a year. Jazzy, that's exactly how I'm fucking would like to treat it, but it's been over a year. But I'm not against having a drink once a year or something like that. And like I said, my biggest rule is my other big rule is not when I have to work the next morning because I get massive hangovers. I have such bad headaches anymore, just all the time. They're starting to come back. There was a time when I suffered with them quite constantly, and I was doing quite well for a long time, and now they're quite back, and I'm sure it has something to correlate with actually how my life is going or something. Hopefully, I don't have a brain tumor going on. Anyway, here's to that. Cheers to everybody. Here's to your health and happiness. I'm going to bed. You should go to bed. It is 11:20. I talk forever, but that's why I'm here. So have a good night, everybody. I'm here to talk. I talk to you, but I hope you know that I always listen, I always read, and I always try to engage somewhat with everybody who's willing to engage with me, because that's the whole point of this. Uh, right now, like I said, money, monetization, making a living off of this is so far from it that it doesn't taint why I'm here, and I do it because I want to. So you guys have a great night. Take it easy. This one goes out to Trevor Moore. My heart is absolutely broken over that one. He was a great comedian. He was one of my favorite comedians. He's my favorite comedian under the age of yada yada. Like, he wasn't a classic yet, but he was gonna be. I feel like he had so much stuff lined up, and I just can't fucking believe it. So Trevor Moore, this one's for you, buddy. That's fucked. It's unbelievable. So, cheers. Have a good night. We'll see you next week. I'd love to start doing Ganja game nights again, but I'm working every single night, so it's really hard to do it because there's a lot of setup. I only have the one camera, and there's a lot of setup for making video games work. So if you're moving it around and stuff, anyway, have a good one. We'll see you next week. Hopefully, I'll have a video out even sooner than that, but it's been rough time wise. So, peace. White Willow, love you. Keep it real, man. You do the same. Everybody watching this in the future, past, present, uh, have a good evening. We'll see you next week. Take it easy and keep it keepy. Laters, guys.